I'm the reason Robin Hood froze in 21. I turn red days green just to flex for fun. Hold account on calls, I don't hedge, I run. Diamond hands so cracked they could cut your thumb. Sip for a local while I chart this mess. Margin maxed out, still doubling the bet. Your TA's cute, but I'm reckless finesse. I treat the stock exchange like a Vegas roulette. YOLO, long, double down, feed the flame. Portfolio's a slot machine. I rig the game, every dip's a shot, every rip champagne. I'm the bull in the pit with the broke man's brain. Coke on the keyboard, Chick-fil-A on the screen. Scalping tendies off the market machine. Broker blowing on my phone like settle the feed. But my cars print memes and the memes print green. I'm the IV spike that your grandma won't touch. The lotto ticket strike that pays too much. That'll burn cooking, I don't mind the crunch. Expiration Friday, I'm the Friday lunch. YOLO, long, double down, feed the flame. Portfolio's a slot machine. I rig the game, every dip's a shot, every rip champagne. I'm the bull in the pit with the broke man's brain. The broke man's brain. The broke man's brain. Tesla, profit, degen, slot junkie. I'm the liquidity leak, the drip too funky. Blow my gains on strippers, lose it back on Monday. But I reload the account like a clown on payday. Risk management's a joke, I don't tell. I'd rather 10x up than break even well. I'm the ape in the suit, I'm the market tail. Short squeeze symphony, ring the bell. YOLO, long, double down, feed the flame. Portfolio's a slot machine. I rig the game, every dip's a shot, every rip champagne. I'm the bull in the pit with the broke man's brain. Broke man's brain. Broke man's
Oh, brother. Well, that was the wrong audio tuning, but it's not really my fault. It's because we have the little submarine shark here. Come over here. She was standing on the... What are you doing? Now you're just embarrassing me in front of all my digital internet. Are you good? There it is. We have a shark on the loose, but Piper happened to be standing on the board this morning. So my apologies for that. I know you guys get excited by that one particular voice, but hey, folks, it is a beautiful Wednesday, November the 12th, and I would like to say happy hump day to all who celebrate. If you're looking at the pre-market action, things are once again looking green. I get it. Last week, Thursday, Friday, a bit of a sell-off, pretty rough, bouncing off the 50 EMA, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as of now, looking pretty good. Of course, yes, you could call out the technical aspect of downside gap fills, but if you look at price structure, price momentum, and a little bit of options flow, there's more bulls playing right now than bears. Of course, that can change on a moment's notice, but based on this information, I'm looking at pre-market right now, and it looks like we're getting another gap up, and it looks like we'll be battling it out at some of the key levels. So we're going to be getting into that, and of course, right now, we could attempt to predict why is the market optimistic. At the end of the day, price is price is truth, price is how you make money. Sometimes it's helpful to explain why something is or isn't happening. This time around, you could argue that it's just because we are seemingly closer to the government shutdown ending than anything else. And in fact, we just heard from Scalise early this morning on Squawk Box talking about how the House will be voting today, Wednesday, I believe at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's after the market closes. So we're going to be chit-chatting about that. So yeah, maybe that's why there's optimism, but who cares? We care about what direction is price going because that's how we're going to make money. So we're going to talk a little bit about the overall market, a little bit about the government shutdown and how they're kind of intertwined. Then, yeah, we have some individual equity stuff that I want to talk about, specifically NVIDIA and AMD. I think there's a worthwhile conversation. I also think there's a worthwhile conversation on Palantir and Tesla, so we can get into those. And I'm not saying that this is the exclusive list of things you should care about. They're just particular tickers that caught my eye early this morning. We're also going to be talking about the Fed the Fed. Obviously, we should talk a little bit about the December rate cuts, but back to the government. If the government reopens in time, what does that mean in terms of macroeconomic announcements this week? So we're going to be getting a little bit into that. And then there was one more thing that is slipping my mind right now. Yes, I see some people talking about crypto. I want to talk about that. I spend way too much time, I guess, doom scrolling on the internet. And has anyone else been following the story of one degenerate crypto trader who's using 40x leverage on his account to currently bet against Bitcoin? Like, to my understandings, it's basically his entire account. It's his life savings. And I believe his liquidation point is 106,000, a little bit of change maybe past that. We clipped 105 and change this morning, as in he's like, is far away. I mean, Bitcoin moves $1,000 like it's nothing. So he's that close to getting completely blown out. So I want to cover a little bit of that story. But overall, we're halfway through the week. We're here waiting for the opening in the world's largest casino. I hope you guys had a great day yesterday. I hope you made a buttload of money. I hope you're ready for today. I hope you had a great morning. I hope you had your cup of coffee. And I hope that little cat is sitting on your lap as Piper is right now. It's always a good day to know that the chief investment officer is here to kind of watch over my shoulder as I execute some of these trades. So hope you have a good one. And I should probably get to doing my job right about now. Stock futures rise slightly after a record-setting day for the Dow. Yes, the Dow hit a new record, even though the Nasdaq kind of struggled a little bit, but if you turn it over to what's going on early this morning, you can see that the SPY is gapping up above the high. The Qs are gapping up above the high from yesterday and from the day before. Russell also looking decent and Bitcoin looking decent. So I suppose the bull camp got a good night's rest because they are coming out fighting early this morning. And it's all because of this. The House is poised to end the historic shutdown over Democrats' objections. So we right now are living in the longest U.S. government shutdown ever. We just set a record, and I don't think that's a record we should be proud about. Obviously, there's a good chance, if not you being directly impacted, there's a very, very good chance that you have a neighbor who's being impacted. Now, why is this happening? Well, it's because of course, political gridlock, and this time around, it really revolves around healthcare. And obviously, I hope you do your research. And if you're well informed, yeah, you are welcome to your opinion. But I find right now we live in this modern area where people develop these hardcore opinions and haven't done any research on it. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, all I ask is you do some actual research. And if you choose to not do research, well, honestly, maybe that's just a healthier way to handle this, because other than that, you might get spun up and have stress levels that are inappropriate and not healthy. But anyway, the fact that they are going to be voting today, like I said on Squawk Box early this morning, Scalise was talking and basically setting up of, yeah, they're going to be voting tonight. And the odds are looking pretty freaking good. So according to Kohrs, when will the House vote on government funding? Well, you could see the odds spiked before the 13th. So 90% chance of today, and then 98% chance of before tomorrow. So basically, we're looking at the vote going down today or tomorrow. And you can see that these odds really started to spike as soon as it passed through the Senate. Now, for the larger question of when will the shutdown end? Well, we could have right here a 98% chance that it will be ending this week between November 12th and the 15th. Pretty strong. And then also looking at Kohrs, we've been pointing this out, but it stopped at 43 days, as in it looks like the shutdown more than 42, 99, but then more than 43, 17. So somewhere in between the 12th and the 13th are the big betting days. So I bring this up daily because we're seeing how these numbers are starting to quote unquote solidify. And that tells me that, okay, this is probably going to be happening. So, I'm looking at the government reopening. We know the Senate's already passed it. We already know that Trump has publicly said that he supported it. And then that's 2 of 3 that you need. The other one is the House voting on it today. If you look at the early indications of where the numbers are going to go, probably going to get passed. Is that etched in stone? Not necessarily. Of course, crazy things can happen. But as of this moment, it looks like ideally knock on wood, the government will be reopening, which is fascinating. It is great for all of us. Why I say it's fascinating that we got ourselves into this situation, but it's a nice sigh of relief that you have things as maybe as small as economic reports finally coming out, maybe medium level as ideally the air traffic control and flights kind of resettling to where it should be at our expectations, to things as extreme and as impactful as people finally getting the benefits they need to be able to afford food. So there's an entire scale of this, and obviously the government reopening should help out quite a bit. Now, before, when I fumbled my words because I didn't have my coffee, I accidentally said monetary policy and talking about the Fed instead of the government, which, hey, they're basically the same thing. But anyway, the Fed is increasingly torn over a December rate cut. So this doesn't necessarily have a direct impact on today, but as we get closer and closer to December, this is going to be the talk of the town. So right now, for the month of November, we're talking about U.S. and China trade deals, and we're talking about the government shutdown. That's the theme of the particular week. The week and the month. Going to December, the hot talk of the town is going to be the Santa Claus rally and the December rate cut and whatever other random drama pops up in our life. So I just want to put this on your radar right now that the voting FOMC members, remember the Federal Open Market Committee meeting is where they decide what in the world they will be doing with the Fed rate. And there's a certain amount of voting members, and right now we're seeing people kind of disagree, which is a bit of rarity. In the last handful of them, they've basically been unanimous. In the past two, there's been dissenting voices, and generally, even though it's rare if there's a dissenting voice, the dissenting voices are in agreement with each other, the other dissenting voices. What's interesting is in the last FOMC meeting, in the October meeting, there was two dissenting voices, but they went the opposite way. One was saying no rate cut at all, and the other one was saying 50 bips, and obviously we ended up getting something in the middle of 25 bips. So this particular fracture is kind of making the odds of this December cut a little bit strange. As of this moment, as of November 12th, before the market opens, we are sitting at a 64% chance of a 25 bips rate cut. We are currently sitting at 3.75 when it comes to the Fed rate, and basically they're saying there's a 2/3 shot that we go to 3.5. So those are the odds. I think it's going to be worthwhile to see how this starts to shift over the coming days and over the coming weeks. Like I said, the big news right now is the government shutdown or lack thereof. But the next big thing that we should be paying attention to, I just kind of want to anchor us to this, especially before we get into the November monthly expiration, so we can start to track how this number is actually changing or not changing. Obviously, from here, maybe we should talk about some things that are going to be a bit more impactful today in this particular week. So like I said, if the government reopens, that means we have a shot of later on this week getting initial jobless claims, the CPI inflation report, the PPI inflation report, U.S. retail sales. So there's a shot if the government opens in time that the BLS will actually give us those numbers. With respect to today, New York Fed President John Williams speaks. He's one of the most impactful Fed members. In fact, he's one of the ones that might have a shot at being the next Fed chair. So that's at 9:20. That's actually going to be starting in about 6 minutes. If you guys want to listen to that, let me know. But anyway, there's a whole host of Fed speakers today, and there's also a bond auction. Hang on, let me check my numbers. I believe it is the 10-year. Yes. 10-year note auction today at 1 p.m. So with respect to today specifically, you have a 10-year note auction at 1 p.m. talking about monetary policy, and we're going to get an idea of yields and bond prices and all that good jazz. And then from there, as I already showed you, we have an entire slate of Fed members talking today, really getting going in about 6 minutes. On top of that, you should be paying attention to some of these individual equities. Early this morning, we heard from Circle. Later on today, if you want to know about what's going on in the world of tech, you could listen to Cisco. And then tomorrow, the biggest company of the week is Disney. So that reports before market open tomorrow. Of course, that is in the newsletter that I just showed you. That's free to all of you. It's in the description of the video. Feel free to sign up. It comes to your email inbox every single Sunday. It's in that. You could screenshot this, or you could go to @eWhispers on Twitter if you want to see this graphic yourself. But diving into a couple individual equities, I actually don't think the most exciting news is right here. I think it's kind of the recent commentary from AI. The AI boom is looking more and more fragile. AI stocks have swung downward as doubt rises about the sustainability and payoff. Now, I did post an update video yesterday related to how one of the largest NVIDIA insiders just sold their entire chunk, about $6 billion, technically $5.8 billion worth of NVIDIA. And that was from SoftBank. And if you look at SoftBank early this morning, because of that sale, it's actually plunging. SoftBank shares plunge as much as 10% after selling the NVIDIA stake. I covered this entire story in the update video yesterday. Don't lie to me and say that you guys watched it, because I know you didn't watch of it. Some of you did. Some of you did your homework and are properly prepared for today's show. But don't fib me. I know a lot of you in here right now did not watch that video for whatever reason. I think it's because we swore too much in it, and the title, we were swearing and we called him a crybaby, and on the thumbnail we also swore. So there's a good chance YouTube honestly just didn't want to promote it because we used a lot of our French in that one. But what you need to know is SoftBank sold their entire chunk of NVIDIA to quote unquote fuel their investment for AI, which is interesting because they want money to invest in companies who inherently have to buy the product from NVIDIA, even though they owned NVIDIA. So they sold one stake to invest in companies that have to buy product from this other company. So I get it. I'm not saying I'm the best trader, investor, or financial wizard of our times, but that's an interesting play. That honestly is a very, very interesting play, that they are getting money to buy a thing, and then those people have to buy from the thing that was already their original investment. So little confused about that, but hey, I don't run SoftBank, and apparently the market does not agree with the movement whatsoever. NVIDIA supplier Foxconn third quarter profit beats expectations, rising 17% on AI demand. So you're telling me the company who is the supplier for NVIDIA, which we are hearing from them next week, November 19th, for their earnings, but the company who supplies their product just beat on theirs. So, and they just sold that company. So I'm reading the tea leaves here. I'm reading the writing on the wall, but when the supplier beats on their earnings, telling me that they did very well in the most recent fiscal quarter, the company who is consuming that product probably also gonna do well. So just throwing it out there. Also, if you want to listen to it, maybe I'll do a react video later today. The CEO of AMD was on Squawk Box this morning, and recently she's had some commentary once again of how, yeah, maybe AI is a little frothy right now, but in many people's opinions, it's still going to keep going because we're not really seeing a slowdown in, I guess, the demand for a lot of the products needed. So when it comes to the Wall Street Journal, the AI boom is looking more and more fragile. I kind of just think that this is really leaning into, I suppose, the emotion of it all. And I think that this is a lot more of a clickbait title rather than something founded in quality fundamental analysis. Obviously, that's my takeaway. Maybe you look at this, maybe you read through it, and you completely disagree with me. That's the beauty of the market, is if you have an opinion and it's strong enough, you could put your money where your mouth is. But if you ask me what's going on right now, I like it. And maybe from there, they're saying, well, maybe it's a good trade to the upside right now, but not a good investment. They're not really clear on their time frame. But we're kind of getting just like this generic idea that, like, let's say it's Michael Burry-esque of, hey, it's frothy and they're kind of inflating their numbers and I'm going to bet against it, but the bet is for like a long time out. Could be that, but what I care about here is, like, of course, I do have a long-term investment portfolio. I am not saying anything specific to that. But when it comes to what I see right now, when I see the overall market, I see higher highs, I see higher lows. I see it saving itself at the 50 EMA, and I see price above all the major moving averages. I see the same thing in the NASDAQ. I see higher highs, I see higher lows. Yes, there are downside gap fills, but I see a save at the 50 EMA, and I see price above all the EMAs. So price structure and price momentum in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, undoubtedly, anyone who's looking at the screen right now can argue that that is bullish. Then when I start to dive into some of the other interesting things that is going down, I look at, okay, where's big money where are they putting their money? And over the last 5 days, let me move my fat head. I know I'm blocking the screen. My apologies for that. You can see everyone is shifting back into Kohrs. Over the past 5 days, everyone's saying, yo, let's rip Avago, let's rip AMD, let's rip NVIDIA, let's rip Google. Meta's hung out there the whole time. They're getting bullish. They are intentionally getting into calls. Now, obviously, you could fact check me and you could say, well, hang on. The put skew on the S&P 500 is tilting upwards. Yeah, it is. You are right. You could say that. And my theory is that they're playing for either one or two downside gap fills. When the market opens today, there is going to be another downside gap fill. Actually, let me just fact check that. Yeah, 6870. And let me see where we are right now. Yeah, the high from yesterday is 6855. So there is going to be two downside gap fills. Maybe they're buying some of the protection for that, or maybe they're just hedging out their individual bets with the overall market. That is totally possible, but it just seems really, really silly to be betting against the trend. The trend is up. Anyone looking at the chart right now would argue that the trend is up. Let's even go specifically to an AI name. Higher highs, higher lows, prices above the EMAs. Yes, there is a downside gap fill. I'm not saying it's perfectly bullish, but I am saying price momentum, price structure, and even as I just showed you, options flow. People are betting on the upside. Who am I to bet against where billions of dollars are flowing in? So I get when we get titles like this that it kind of drives some sort of emotional response. And remember that Wall Street Journal and all of lamestream media, they do not get paid on being right. They get paid on getting people like you and me and everyone else to click on the article and read it and see what's going on. The incentive for them is to get you to engage. The incentive for them is not to be right. And unfortunately, I could obviously extrapolate that out to larger media in a general sense. But remember, sometimes, and I would argue most of the time, it's more of an emotional game rather than the author. I guarantee you that Dan and Asa here are not putting their own money on the line trying to trade NVIDIA and trying to be accurate on the AI boom or not. They're probably not traders at all. They are writers. They are reporters. And once again, their incentive is just to get you to read it. And we know from various studies, especially done by Facebook, that negative emotion has a higher click-through rate and a higher engagement rate than positive emotion. So it just is what it is. So obviously, these are my own opinions. I think SoftBank just made a big blunder, if you will, for all my chess fans out there. I think it was really silly to sell NVIDIA to then go buy AI companies who are going to have to buy product from NVIDIA anyway. That seems a bit silly to me. And then when I look at the actual numbers beyond price momentum, and options flow, when I look at maybe secondary or tertiary level indicators, I realize that, wow, the companies funding these are actually doing really well. Well, not funding. The companies who are supplying these AI players are doing really well. So I'm going with the most likely pathway, and just because it's the most likely pathway doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but this is just inherently a game of odds, and the odds to me tell me that we're still going up. You might bitch and moan and complain that things are overvalued, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, but remember, overvalued and undervalued has something to do with investing, and it's a fundamental thesis that has no place in the world of active trading. If you're a day trader, scalp trader, swing trader, you care much more about options flow, price momentum, earnings, that type of stuff, rather than just, oh, the PE ratio is way too high, way too low. Those types of things can stay a bit skewed or a bit abnormal way longer than any of us would like to admit. I just want to remind you of that. All right, bringing it to today's action hyper specifically, here are the key levels I'm paying attention to. Hang on. Let me change this. Visibility. It should only be on the daily. All right, as I always do, I mark out the previous high, low, and close. The green, the red, and the white. The white box is the transition zone. Obviously, above it is thought to be bullish. Below it is thought to be bearish. And within it is thought to be choppy. So yes, we are, as of now, scheduled to open around 6871, which means there is a downside gap fill play to 6855, which is the high from yesterday. I need to call that out, even though my personal bias is bullish. I do want to call that out to everyone because there's a shot that we get rejected at 70, 75, or 80, and maybe we just get this quick downside gap fill. That is something you have to be mindful of. Of course, there's quite a bit of support between 55 and 41. There's actually a ton of support. I actually wouldn't mind making a new bullish position in this region, trying to play the bounce off of it back up to 6880, 6,900, and then my reach target for today would be 6920 to 6935. That's my bull case. The bear case is a rejection at 680. We come all the way down. We get the downside gap fill. We hit the closing value from yesterday of 6846. And then from there, we can't really hold. And then we go to the bottom of the transition zone. If we do not hold 6825, from there, I'd be looking somewhere in this 6-point region between 6,800, 6,806 or 7. That's my bear case. Going into today, looking at the momentum of what I see on the 10-minute, the 30-minute, and the 4-hour, the 10-minute, the 30-minute, and the 4-hour. 10-minute is actually pressing down a little bit right now. But if we can bounce off of this, great. But when I look at the 30-minute and the 4-hour on ES and NQ, based on how I look at the market, I'm kind of only interested in the bull case. If the bear case becomes evident, maybe there's a quick scalp in there to be had. But other than that, I'd rather make my life a little bit easier and just trade with the overall trend. Now, if the overall trend starts to collapse and let's say NQ breaks below 25,700, let's say ES cracks below 6878 and we're not holding it, that's a different story. But I find life is far easier, especially when you're employing good risk reward management. If you apply that, but only with trend trades, your life is far, far easier. So anyway, use these levels if you want. Don't use them if you don't want to. No one's saying you have to. I'm just letting you know that's my bull case. That's my bear case. That's my neutral case. These are the key levels I care about. These are all where the big money players are. As you can see, there is some negative gamma above. We are in positive gamma, but this is the setup. Negative gamma above, positive gamma below. That is the exact setup that we have been seeing pretty much in this entire push. As soon as we got to mid-May to basically the start of October, day over day, this was effectively the gamma setup that led to that slow grind higher and higher and higher. We had positive gamma below, which means every dip, the market makers were buying to cause it to bounce. And then on every push higher, we tilted into negative gamma if it was a good day. And then we got those nice trendy upside days. So is that a guarantee with how today plays out? No, but I'm just pointing out the pattern of this exact gamma setup is exactly what we've seen from mid-May to pretty much October, which was perfectly aligned with this entire slow grind higher and higher and higher. So I'm basically going to be looking for this particular, obviously I'm on the 0 DT right now, but I'm going to be looking for this to continue into the future. Now, we do tilt into a little bit of a negative gamma above 6,900, but I do want to point out there's a giant positive gamma node at 6,920 and 25. Obviously, there's a bit of an issue here at 6,880, and then there is support beneath at 6,845, which was pretty much yesterday's closing value. So in terms of like the three key levels, well, we're opening up roughly near 80. Watch for the break of 900 and a push to 920, 925. If we get rejected at 80, look for support to be found at 6,845. I would say just if you're a person, you need the three levels to pay attention to: neutral, bullish, and then bearish. Those are the three levels I would be personally watching, and not will be. I mean, I definitively am. I already have it marked out, and that's exactly what I plan on doing today. So that's my plan. I should let you know, I did maybe break my rules a little bit. I did do a little bit of scalp trading early this morning on all of my accounts that are up bigly, the ones that have big buffer in it. They're all up about $20,000. I locked in about $300, and on the ones where I'm working on building out the buffer, I made about $500. So a little bit more on that. Maybe I take another trade on these today. I don't know. I'm kind of sitting pretty right now. I did make the request last night. Right here, you could see pending. I requested yesterday as soon as I could, November 11th, on 15 accounts. Count them up. They are all pending. 15 accounts, 2KH, $30,000 from Apex is currently pending. When will they approve or deny? I don't know. I think this time I'm going to get approved. I told you last time, right here, you could see all these ones that got denied right here. All 15 denied, 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 denied. I knew those were going to get denied. I knew I broke a rule. I have an entire video. It's pinned to the top of my Twitter. I knew going into it that I was going to get denied. But I had to go through that after trading 8 days, and then I had to trade another 8 days so I could request again. So that's what happened. I traded 8 days, got denied. Trade another 8 days, I threw in the order, or I guess the request, and right now they're pending. So, of course, as soon as I find out, I will let you guys know. But I believe this time around, last time I was pretty confident I was going to get denied. This time around, I'm pretty confident that it will be approved. 15 accounts, 2K each, $30,000 should be a nice payday if actually approved. And on that particular note, dingity ding ding ding, the world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all, play responsibly, and if not, have fun. All right. Let's see what we have going on today. AMD is a ripping. It is a ripping. Remember, downside gap fill. Let me go to the 1 minute right here. Downside gap fill is to 6855. That is the high from yesterday. We are currently trading 10 points above it. In all reality, I wouldn't mind a quick little push down, a little kiss, and then we pop right off of it. That's what I would love to happen. Now, just because that would make my life easy, that doesn't necessarily mean it's what's going to happen, but I would love it. Minute 1, minute 2, minute 3, we just get that quick fill and we bounce somewhere right out of this region. Would love to see that happen. Of course, the order flow, the options flow is probably going to be pretty telling today. The S&P 500, let's get that loaded. And the Mag 7, let's get that loaded. Remember, we're not even a minute into the day, so we don't have the most data. So maybe out of the gate, let's just sit on our hands. The Russell's getting a nice bid. In fact, the daily on the Russell is looking like it kind of wants to break out. It's looking like it wants to break out. Do I want to play the Russell? I kind of do. I kind of do. Where is big money betting on the Russell right now? Where is big money betting? Big money is currently betting. We're trading at 245, 247, 250 has some bets, and 255 has some bets. So 250 is all the way up there. I kind of like 248. That's a technical breakout. Yes, there's the downside gap fill. We saved off the 50 EMA. What is the flow looking like? It's looking decent. Oh, how do I want to do this? The vol VIX is at 17. Not the most changed on the day. All right. How do I want to do this? All right, let's see what we could do here. The Q's got their downside gap fill. I like that. We're cleaning up the chart. Great. Let's see. The SPY's downside gap fill is right here. This green line, 683.57. As I said, the Q's already got it, which most likely means that NDX. Did it technically get it? Did we technically get that? Little bit of a gap. If you really, really squint your eyes there, you can see that there's still a little bit of a gap on NDX. We got as low as 89.18, and the high from yesterday was 88. So we're off by like just the smallest little margin right there. So even though QQQ got its downside gap fill, NDX did not on that push to the downside, just so we all know. So still waiting on NDX to clean up its chart, waiting on SPX to clean up its chart. AMD's looking good. Russell's looking good. Speaking of which, I just made a play. Gotta fill, sending it into the Discord right now. It's one of the plays that we were talking about early this morning. By the way, if you want to be in the Goonie Trading Discord, sign up. Your first month is free, so you can test drive the whole thing for a month and see if it is or is not for you. I also want to see this. Okay, interesting. Let's check that out. And then I was watching Palantir as well, which is not going. So Palantir does still have a downside gap fill to 178.70. NVIDIA has a downside gap fill to 188.32. AMD has one, I suppose, to yesterday's high, 248.46. Apple's looking pretty strong. Tesla consolidating. Microsoft, I'm looking forward to get back up to this 50 EMA at 514. Meta is currently flat. Avago flat. Amazon did have a gap up this morning, but already filled that downside. All right. So we are kind of just all awkwardly waiting to see this downside gap fill. Once again, the downside gap fill on SPX is 6855. And whoa, the NASDAQ is very quickly getting clipped, and it is seemingly making a beeline for the overnight session low, which is around 25,631 on the NQ contract. It's whatever this low is. Technically 629. That's what this box is. It's the overnight trading, the extended hours trading, high and low. The reason I do that on NQ is I like to do it for the scalp trades and whatnot. And the high or the low, one of them at minimum is taken out, I believe close to 90% of the time is the odds. I did some research on this a while ago, so I like to have them up. It's just good targets, I suppose. So that's what that is all about. Let me get this. Let me get this. Let's get, you know what we should do today? Can we get some Tendies and Tunes popping in the background? Let's go to the Tendies and Tunes channel. Let's get some music going here. Videos, shorts, playlists. What Tendies and Tunes? Little Kohrs, hype, new songs, funky, rock, hip hop. Let's do some hype ones. Whoa, whoa. All right. All right. It's Mr. Producer. Are the lo-fi songs loaded up? Are the lo-fi songs up on here, or are they on that Spotify playlist? Let me see. I'm looking at all of our playlists right now. Videos. Heck, Bag Holder Graves? All right, that might just be fun to listen to. Oh, wait, Morning Vibes. That was lo-fi. I saw lo-fi. Yeah, here we go. All right, here we go. We got some Tendies and Tunes lo-fi music. Just a little something to set the mood as we're trying to see what in the world the world's largest casino has for us in store today. So I believe NDX did get its downside gap fill. It did. So the NDX still has a downside gap fill, still has an upside gap fill. Upside is 25887. Downside is from Friday of last week at 25065. SPX just has two downside gap fills. There's no upside gap fill, but you have a downside gap fill to 6855.13, which once again is the high from yesterday. And then there's another one from Friday, like NDX at 6730. So structurally, those are probably pretty important to pay attention to today. The SPY getting a little bit of a bounce here. The Q is also getting a little bit of a bounce. The Russell is taking off. AMD a slight hit. Tesla, no. I was also watching Palantir. Both are getting hit out of the gate. So the Russell, not the best flow this morning, but I want to see them. The Mag 7 flow is just down thus far. And the S&P 500, Our life would have been so much easier if it just quickly went for this downside gap fill. It's really just the odds of this are so high that it makes me personally hesitant to throw on a bullish position right now when I know the odds of this are high, which means that if we do get a pump to 80 or 900, I might be missing out on it on like a 0 DTE basis. Oh, come on. Just, I really wish, honestly, I wish minute 1, minute 2 just quickly hit that. That would make life so much easier. Because if we hit that, clean up the chart, got the gap fill also on SPY to 683.57, life would just be so much easier. Quick little gap fill, a little bit of a foundation built, boom, gives us the next test up to 880. But the option, people are stepping in. This is, I know, the third day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but this is the third trading day in a row that we're seeing the opposite. SPY is telling us one story, the Mag 7 is telling us a completely different story. And that kind of led to some of the weirdness that we saw yesterday. I'm thinking about closing out this position today. I have SPX 6,800 calls for this Friday. I got them last week. I have 6 of them. I'm in at 42. They are currently trading at 79. I am up $21,000 on this play. Do I just want to close this out? I'm thinking about locking it in today. I really feel like I should lock it in today is really what I'm saying. And then I could always roll out and buy more time and adjust the strike. It's just the fact that it expires this Friday. I'm already in the money. I'm up good money on it in general. Obviously, I'm going to do my best to pinpoint it. I would rather get out now than it start to fall. And then I have to deal with the downside gap fill. But what if this push does go up to 80? I'm kind of... If this starts to revert at all, I'm probably going to close out this position. But the way the pricing should work... Actually, let me move this to the other screen so I can get out appropriately. All right. Done. Donezo. 20K locked in. Bada bing, bada boom. Actually, let me update. Here, closed SPX. It's not because I'm not bullish. I just don't like having options when I'm long a position like that. And I guess there's various dynamics to it. But when it's expiring this Friday, it's just obviously theta is picking up exponentially. Like I said, I'm already in the money and now there's 2 downside gap fills. So for me to get out of SPX here, I just dumped it at 67, like rather than 55. I mean, that's probably worth a couple $1,000s to me because of the volatility gamma. So basically you have to consider the delta, the vega, and the theta in this particular case. And it's not that I'm not bullish. It's just I can wait for it to pull down here, which is a high odds situation, reestablish at a better price, and roll out for a further one. So like to me, bada bing, bada boom. But I don't know. It feels good to lock in 20K. You guys just saw it in real time. So not complaining about that whatsoever. And the Qs are pushing to the closing value, a little bit of a red-green test. We're still just waiting on the SPY for the downside gap fill. And okay, I should note on that particular trade, you might be saying, but Matt, what if it just bottoms here and keeps going? Okay, then I missed the ticket. I missed the ride. I missed the train. It's okay to miss out on something that would have been a good trade if you're following your overall plan, and you have to always consider the fact, but what if it goes against you? Mathematically, as I was lamenting yesterday, taking a bad trade you shouldn't have been in is completely different than missing out on a good trade you should have been in. Mathematically, what it does to your account is widely 2 different things. It's one of those things that I'm not saying you are, but just to like illustrate a mathematical point, if you lose 50% of your account value, you have to make 100% return to get back to break even. That's what I say when the math is skewed. So of course, you just don't want to be in those positions. And right here, knowing that the odds of this hitting are in excess of 85%, yeah, I see a little bit of a pump. I'm going to take advantage of it, moving on with my life. And I think with the high odds probability, I'm always just trying to play the high odds pathway. In here, if we see, so I think it's a high odds that we get down here. That's step 1. Step 2 is we see a foundation being built. Step 3 is we see the options market starting to pick up. That's when I could reestablish and get a better strike price and also buy more time. But maybe it doesn't happen. I don't know. I'm not clairvoyant. I just want to explain exactly the thought process that you guys saw literally just locked me in $20,000. And if it goes, it goes. If it goes, I really don't care because I do have other exposure. I have SPY calls, I have Q calls, I have Tesla calls. The Tesla calls are doing horribly, like legitimately horribly. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought those, but honestly, I might even rule those today. The Russell's looking decent. Tesla, Nvidia, tech is getting hit this morning. Clearly, tech is very clearly getting hit this morning. Looks like there's a bit of a rotation from tech into small cap. Looks like there is a bit of a rotation. What the fuck? Is that math right? Interesting. All right. The Qs are doing the red-green test right now. Don't be surprised if some buyers step in at this level. Amazon's taking a hit. The Russell's still holding. VIX is picking up a little bit. What I'm telling you, folks, I'm just waiting for this downside gap fill. We don't need to make it like overly complicated or anything like that. We don't have to make it overly complicated. In fact, let's do something more fun. Oh, wait, SoFi. Someone's saying SoFi, what the fuck? SoFi. Getting a little bit of a pop, going above 32. Thanks for the shout out here. Going for that all-time high, it seems. Is that the all-time high? Or is it a recent high? It's a new all-time high. I wouldn't chase it here. The entry was at some point on Monday, probably, maybe on Tuesday on this break, risking a recent low. Honestly, this was a tough one to enter with the... Oh, what are you doing, Piper? Am I too loud? I'm sorry. I could be quieter. She's trying to nap, and we should be respectful of that. We should all be respectful of the fact that the chief investment officer here is trying to nap. It was a tough entry because the risk was rather large, but if you somehow already had it, or maybe you just got in at the 50 EMA, that's a nice play. I don't like the entry at this point just because the risk reward is skewed, but price structure, price momentum, and options flow is all very strong in SoFi. So if you have a bullish position, ride it, but that doesn't mean throw on a new bullish position right now. Mag 7 is still getting clobbered. S&P 500 was looking good up until 939, getting hit right now. I think there's just too many people playing this downside gap fill, and I personally will not be throwing on a position until we see that, or something dramatic has to change. But I'd prefer that the Qs just chill right here at 621.50. I just want to see it hold the closing value. I don't want it to go down that much farther. And I just want to see the downside gap fill on the SPY. But anyway, in celebration of the fact that we should be patient, waiting for our entries, in celebration of the fact that I did my next request and this one should be approved for $30,000, and in celebration of this is your final day for Apex, I once again bought 5 more coupons. So it is 9:46. The first 5 people who send me a screenshot on my Twitter account of proof of buying an account past 9:46. I need the timestamp, and I need you to have proof that you use that code Goonie. The first 5 people who do it, I will give you another account. So you get 70% off with the code Goonie. You have 15 hours left to take advantage of that because the upgrade from eval to performance is only $40, which is making it absolutely dirt cheap. The first 5 people who send me a screenshot, once again, send it to my Twitter account right here, Matt_Kohrs. I will just look at the timestamp. The first 5 people, I will be giving you another account. So the timestamp needs to be past 9:46. Put that in there, throw Goonie in there, basically just show me proof. I trust in all of you guys. It's not like if you're trying to game the system or scam it, like whatever, come on, just be realistic. But I will give out 5 additional accounts, and obviously I'll tweet about it later today of who the winners are. But once again, screenshot on Twitter, Matt_Kohrs. If you don't have a Twitter, sorry. If you don't like Apex, sorry. But for those of you who do have a Twitter, for those of you who do want an Apex account, just take the screenshot, DM it to me, and I will follow up with you today, giving you a code for another Apex eval. It'll be good for 1 eval account. Looks like SPY got its downside gap fill. Looks like SPX got its downside gap fill. Sweet. That's exactly what we were waiting for. That's exactly what we were attempting to be patient about. All right. And it looks like some dip buyers are trying to step in. It might want to touch 50 though. Let's watch this. Mag 7 just got clipped right there. S&P 500 also got clipped, but that led to a flow alert. So hang on. All right, I'm already getting some of these DMs, folks. Have at it. Oh, got another DM right now. Time's a ticking. Just a quick screenshot, folks. IWM's looking good. Mag 7's still getting hit. SPY, maybe a double bottom. There was a flow alert. People are, someone just bought a chunk of 0DT puts. They went long puts. Buy to open, buy to close, I don't know. But I can tell you they bought puts and they've been selling calls starting at 939. I'm surprised that they bought these puts now after the gap fill or to cause the gap fill rather than earlier today to play the gap fill. I find that tactically to be a weird decision. And then the Mag 7, someone got hit pretty hard here at 946. Update. The chief investment officer is, I think, maybe she's going for breakfast or something. I don't know what she's doing today, folks. All All right, patience. Things are still taking a little bit of a hit. All right, we got the downside gap filled. The Qs are red. Time to bounce, team. Let's see if we could get this bounce now, brother. I did trade in pre-market, just to let you guys know if you're joining in right now. I just saw a couple scalp opportunities, so I really don't feel unique pressure to trade today. I wouldn't mind getting all these accounts.
Order submitted.
Okay, this is the bot trade right here. That's this account that's currently live, the Funded Futures Network. It's the 10-minute Orbo trade. That's with trend.
Target filled.
Boom. This one has not lost. Every single day, I'm just 200. Honestly, I should have applied that bot to all the accounts today, because that would have gotten all these to 500. It would have gotten these to 700. So should have probably done that. But hey, woulda, coulda, shoulda. And it looks like it actually bottom ticked it. No way. Is this going to be one of those lucky days where the bottom tick actually helped me? Look at that exit down there. It got out at 67.75 and the low was 67.25. I bottom ticked that. That's a fortunate close right there, because other than that, it would have already bounced 30 points against me. But anyway, the 10-minute Orbo lives to make gains another day, I suppose. Locked in 195 on that. So at this point, all the accounts I've already traded on. The 10-minute Orbo made its 200. My 15 Apex accounts with a large buffer, I made 300 on all of those. My 5 Apex with no buffer or minimal buffer, I made 500 on that. And then I have take profits that are up about 2K each. So across the board, I'm seeing green, which means I'm really not feeling much pressure to get anything in. If I see a nice setup, great. But like I said, I'm just not feeling much pressure because I'm already up a couple $1,000s. I already locked in 20K on SPX. I got out right here. So like, your boy's in the matrix today. I got out at 940 on the SPX calls. I top ticked that, almost top ticked it. So I crushed that. Crushed future, dude. I'm reading the market today better than I could read a book. Please don't point out the fact that I don't know how to read a book. It's just a saying. I know, trust me, I know I don't know how to read a book. I'm just saying, if I knew how to read a book, I would still be reading the market better than I could read a book. You're looking good, Matt. You could call it a day. Yeah, I could. If I see an opportunity, you never know when opportunity is going to present. I'm basically just not feeling much pressure. I'm not feeling much pressure to do something I don't really want to do, you know? So like, maybe I do stuff later. Maybe there's no other opportunity, and that's just the end of that. That's possible. I don't know. We're going to wait for it. All right. Reminder, Apex, this is the final day, the final trading session. You have 15 hours left, 70% off evals. Use that code Goonie. But the real part of this deal is the fact that you can upgrade from an eval to a performance for $40 lifetime, not a monthly recurring or anything like that. So today is the day to try to get some of those accounts cross the line, because it's just so financially advantageous to do this upgrade rather than paying 140 the way it was before. So 15 hours left. That means this is your final trading day. And remember, you're going to want to do the upgrade probably before this timer's up. So if you pass the accounts today, make sure you go through the signing of the contract and the upgrade before the timer goes, because I don't know what the next deal is going to be. They never tell any of their affiliates. And also, I don't know how many DMs I have, but if you're one of the first 5 people to screenshot and send me proof of buying an account today past 946, I will give you another account for free. The first 5 people who do that, I will be giving you an account. All right, SPY showing a little bit of a bounce right in that bounce zone. 5-minute, 10-minute is bearish, but 30-minute, can this hold? Can 78 hold? Can we see an uptick in flow? You know, I need to take this and put it over on this screen, because I need to potentially reestablish some positions today. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Positive gamma. We have negative 6,900. That's interesting. Vol skew is dying. Is the vol skew dying? That's a better question. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Term structure. Yeah. Vol is dropping across the index. So vol's coming down, but we are not seeing longer dated puts being sold. That's what I'm still kind of looking for a Vanna rally. Remember, a Vanna rally is created when people YOLO into a bunch of puts, vol expands, and then price kind of stops, vol starts to contract, and then you have all those people who YOLO going long into puts, selling those puts, collapsing it even more, and you see these rallies, these pretty aggressive rallies in the market. It's called a Vanna rally. If you want to learn more about it, search VANNA. I'm saying Vanna like Vanna White, a Vanna rally. It depends on how many people are in puts at that time, because you need to have people in puts who are getting busted up and then they get out of those puts. And we are seeing the put skew rise. People did buy downside protection. So the put players are there. They're clearly there. It's just, are they going to decide to keep their protection, or are they going to vomit it? So I'm kind of watching that. I'm watching this right here. We found support, obviously, at the downside gap fill. We might have a little bit of a higher low. Going long here is not a crazy idea. Just to let you know, I'm not taking it. But taking this long, here, let me switch this to blue. You have good risk reward. You're buying long at support. You're playing it off the higher low, and your risk is here. Your risk is minuscule. You're in at 55. Your risk is 51. If it gets hit, you took a small hit. If you're right and you get to play this bounce, you might get to play it all the way up to 80. I don't know if this one particular attempt's going to work, because you never know when it's going to break out or break down. But in terms of risk reward management, that's minimal risk with pretty high reward. And you happen to also be trading with the bounce off the 30-minute and the 4 hour still bullish. So you're trading with the medium term trend, and you're buying it at a key level of support. At a key level, even if you flip a coin and you're like, hey man, I have a 50-50 shot, remember that's fine, because your risk is so much larger or so much smaller than your comparatively large reward, that if you take those trades time and time again, you can't be betting the house, you can't be betting the farm on one individual trade. But if you do that with proper sizing and proper risk management time and time again, yeah, you're gonna be net ahead. It's basic math. A Vanna rally is an explosive upward price movement in the market that occurs when a drop in implied volatility, IV, often following a period of high fear. Yeah. So basically, you need a market drop, which we had Thursday and Friday of last week. People buy all this protection and IV spikes. And then on the backside of it, IV collapses, and that changes the options dynamic in itself. And then from there, all those people who bought puts, they decide to sell them, and then that causes the delta to go up. So you're seeing a drop in volatility, an increase in delta, and then basically, due to the mechanics of how market makers have to hedge out their books, it pushes the market higher and higher and higher. And then before you know it, that can actually turn into just a self-fulfilling prophecy, and people chase it to the upside, not wanting to miss out on the next big rally. So are we seeing that right now? No. No. We haven't seen any strong measurable signs of just put selling. We've seen it maybe a little bit on a 0 DTE basis, maybe a little bit, but we haven't seen some day where just they're ripping and ripping and ripping. Flow Patrol today showed a fund buying MRK, 26K April calls, 12 million premium. Stock appears to be coming off lows. This comes from our SGOI, not a Flow Bro tape read. Yeah, the Flow Bros are bullshit. So I'm not, the MRK I believe is Merck. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But I like the Flow Bros of just putting out the big premium trades. They're so full of shit on Twitter. They're so incredibly full of shit, because what matters is the net change, not one individual trade. Like, it's so stupid how they post those all the time. And what they do is they always Monday morning quarterback. I fucking hate it. So when I'm talking about flow bros, I don't know how everyone uses the term flow bro, but the way I use the term flow bro is someone waits for an explosive movement, whether in the overall market, individual equity, and then they play Monday morning quarterback and look at the previous flow and find one trade, just one individual trade. It doesn't matter if it's a net trade or not. They find one individual trade that would have benefited off the movement that they already saw happen. And then they say, look, someone new. and they just don't understand how the options market works. And it's all engagement bait. So when you see that of like, oh, look at this one big trade. If someone is pointing out one individual big trade and they're not talking about it being a net change on the day, they're so full of shit. They're so incredibly full of shit. Herein not having the best day. Looks like quantum computing is becoming undone. The fact that open is pumping right here, it just tells me that dipshits are getting caught up in it. Open is one of the most evident pump and dumps of the past couple weeks, the past couple months. Don't get caught up in it. And if you are trading it, just be mindful of your risk. Yes, you can make a lot of money on it. Oklo is trying to save itself off of its earnings, might be putting in a higher low. Watch for the breakout of 119 and some change. That's also the 50 EMA. Oracle going for 1, 2, 3 downside gap fills. Core Weave, I thought was red this morning after, well, I guess it just got hit yesterday. Rumble somehow giving back its gains, even though it had great earnings. SoFi going for the all-time high. Hood trying to save itself at the 50 EMA. Amazon flat. Avago flat. Meta flat, leaning down. Microsoft flat. Apple flat. AMD did pump up, giving a tiny bit back. Nvidia flat, downside gap fill. Tesla flat. Palantir flat. Bitcoin taking a bit of a hit this morning, right down to its 50 EMA on the 30-minute. Tried to get going this morning, getting hit right here. IWM, we're seeing a pump in small cap. Seeing a pump in small cap. All right, are we bouncing off it? Like I said, did I or did I not call out this trade? I just, honestly, what other person in this space is putting their money where their mouth is and not Monday morning quarterbacking? Like calling it out in real time. I just don't think anyone else is doing it, because no one else is putting in the couple of hours of effort you have to understand options flow and the impact on it. I think a lot of them are just like, they're still regurgitating dumb fucking statements from like ICT, or they're just like wannabes who challenge you to trading things, like, or they're doing stupid fucking trading challenges with fake accounts where they just YOLO it, and if they win, they look, I know how to trade, and then you just say, hey, have you ever got a payout? Hey, are you actually trading a live account, and can we see proof of the live account? And then all of a sudden, like, oh, I just don't really do it like that. Like, it's so many excuses time and time again, that the fact that they don't get called out and other people don't notice it, it blows my fucking mind. It blows my mind. Blows my mind. True Trading Group, I don't know if they do or don't, but they don't have a live stream. That's a private community. I'm talking about like live streaming to the world. Rips, I have to admit, I haven't watched a Rip stream, because he streams when I stream. So inherently, because I'm here with you, means I don't watch it. But at least what I've seen on Twitter, the guy seems to be transparent. And whether I haven't had any dealings with him, just a couple Twitter back and forth here. I don't know him personally, but caps off to him for attempting to be as transparent as possible and attempting to get this space to be more transparent. Whenever I see people doing that, whether I agree or disagree with their trading methodologies, whether they are profitable or not profitable, when I see other people with a quote unquote following, which I feel is like one of the gayest things to talk about, but when I see people with a following who are really putting in a concerted effort to be transparent and to get other people to be transparent, I very much do respect it. I really, really do, because there's so many other people taking screenshots, they're editing shit. It's always Monday morning quarterbacking. It's always reviewing. It's not live. And even if it's not live, like, they won't show you their accounts for this reason, that reason. Like, it's scum. He's a scumbag. Like, those people are scumbags. His name is also, Rip's name is Matt? I don't think so, is it? What's Rip's actual name? Unless his parents named him Rips. I thought it was Michael. What is his name? Does anyone know off the top of their head? Have you heard of Money Tower on X? No. I have not. His name is Fishtails. I have a feeling his parents didn't name him Fishtails. No, Trade Brigade is Matt. I don't know who that is. So is Ross Cameron a total liar, or is his strategy just wild? I can't personally comment, but people in here have said that he is transparent and he shows his broker statements. A lot of people are saying that he does, whether it's a winner or a loser, he does show off his trades. Ritz, his name is Ritz Crackers. Investor Henry is a solid dude. I heard of him. I saw his content back in 2021. I haven't seen it in years. It just hasn't been served to me. Did I figure out that riddle from yesterday? No, I didn't. And I spent way too many hours thinking about it yesterday as well. Way too many hours. Trader TV Live, they're just scalping equity moves, and they're doing it on like prop accounts as well. They're not swing trading. And they're, like I said, they're not using real accounts. They're using prop accounts. How about Matt Kohrs? He's a piece of shit, if you ask me. Ugly and fat. Who are these people? Just other people in the trading space. Just a couple other people in the trading space, most of whom I don't associate with, most of whom I think are complete liars, but that is not all of them. I think there's a couple people out there who really put in an effort to be transparent with their trades. Like, for example, it's wild, but Patrick Whelan, by definition, is technically transparent because if he wins or loses, he is showing it off. He's not hiding stuff. Rips seems to be extremely transparent. Trades by Matt seems to be very transparent. Nutty Bar seems to be very transparent. Actually, recently, he's been like every single trade he ever does, he's showing off. So he's been transparent. Trader Ike, he doesn't stream that much, but he posts his trades and he has like little shorts that I see. He seems to be transparent. I'm trying to think of other people. Rips respects you too. I mentioned him. He only says good things. Like I said, I really honestly, God's honest truth, I don't have many interactions with him, but I just appreciate anyone who is being honest about what's going on. Trading is hard. Show your wins, show your losses. If you only show your wins, it's kind of scummy if you only show that and don't show your losses. And I'm trying to think of more, but unfortunately, I think it's a very short list of people who are transparent. And then there's an entire, I mean, I could make a multi-hour lecture of all the people who are lying publicly. Anyone else in TMC? Earnings are on Thursday, hoping they will stay closer to getting permits. I'm not in it. Matt, you're so good with AI videos. You should sell some merch. I'm sure the AI tool would create images from Printify. I don't do it. That is all my producer. Chaos is the AI mastermind in here, not your boy. I focus on the trading in the markets. All the content and production value is attributed to Chaos. Any updates on the PDT rule change? Nope, we're just waiting. Right now it's in the comment period. Using gay as a slur, don't be a homophobe. Homophobe, like as in I'm afraid of gay people? No, I just think it's making a comeback. Sorry, I grew up in recess in the 90s. Like, whatever. I guess like if you, it's really weird to me that you're saying it's homophobic when pretty much all the gay people, I can only speak in New York right now, use it like casually. So, I mean, if you want to police me, have at it. Like, that is your God-given right, and we all have free speech. But I'm in Manhattan, one of the most liberal areas in the entire world. And the gay groups that I know, the gay friends that I have, literally use it all of the time. Like, all of the time. They've, like, co-opted the word once again. That doesn't mean you're homophobic. Doesn't mean you're afraid of gay people. Matt likes fat C's. Wow. Dude, SoFi just won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop SoFi. Wow. It is looking strong. Look at that recovery. We have another higher low in SPX right here. What's the flow looking like? Mag 7. Hang on, I might have to do some work here. SoFi just hit me with another alert. Is anyone like actually offended? If you happen to be gay and you're in the audience, I don't want to out you or anything, but like, I don't know. I guess I grew up in a world where intent matters, and I think you could use gay in like a hateful way. You could use various slurs truly in a hateful way, but I'm of the mindset that intent matters. Like it really, really does. And this idea that there's like a word that you just can't say because it's like Voldemort, and how dare you say that word? I think it's so stupid. I think it's so fucking reductive. I think it's a bunch of middle-aged, white Karen-esque people who want to police other people's speech. And like, whatever. I still, even if you say the most heinous things, I still agree you have the right to say it. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean you're free from the implications of saying that. But in my book, it's intent. And I guess if you don't think that intent matters, I guess we just see the world in different ways. I really, really do. I think intent is 99%. 99. Actually, I think it's 100%. I think you could say it in a hateful way, and I would stand up and be like, hey, man, what the fuck's your problem? I think you could say it in a whatever way, colloquial term, with your buddies, ribbing, jokes. And if the intent is just that, who gives a shit? I don't know where it happened. Obviously, it was post the 90s. It was post the early 2000s that we went from intent being the end-all be-all to the word itself being the end-all be-all. Do you think of yourself as middle-aged? I haven't thought about that, but no, I guess not. Matt was only the queer and Smear the queer. Well, it's because I was the best at not getting tackled. How funny is that I'm getting yelled at for saying the word gay, but I distinctly remember hours of my life were dedicated to playing the game Smear the Queer. If you grew up in the 90s, in the early 2000s, and you didn't get to enjoy like just the pure dopamine rush of winning a round of Smear the Queer, you missed out. Honestly, that's where we as a society might have tilted. We might have actually tilted right there. Can't even crack a dark humor joke without getting canceled. Well, I have hot takes on the concept of getting canceled as well. I think you only get canceled if you like let people cancel you. Something's going on. I think if you literally just like refuse to give a shit, you're not going to get canceled. I think the pendulum's going back and forth. Obviously, if you rewind the clock a couple of years, you could do or say something that like whatever was extremely disruptive to your life. And now the pendulum is going the other way because we realize that our society is being co-opted by fucking nut jobs, like absolute nut jobs. Like the fact, what's the hot topic thing right now with the Olympics? The hot topic thing in the Olympics is they officially banned transgender athletes from competing in the female category. What the fuck? At what is our life, is our society so good that we just started like actually creating random fucking problems for everyone? Like what? We literally had a person who identifies as a female, cannot pass female biological tests, beating the shit out of other women. And not only did we give her a gold medal, we applauded her as some sort of, I guess, symbolism of progression, when literally that means we gave a medal and we applauded a person who is genetically a man beating the shit out of a woman. Would you do that on the street? Would you say, if you saw a dude punch a woman in the face, would you be like, hell yeah, that's that's not equality. That's not progress. Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, I honestly think that maybe sometimes we've made so much technological advancements, medical advancements in our time that we're just coming up with fucking problems that we don't need. Like, what do you mean we, white man? That's a fair retort. Remember Caitlyn Jenner winning Woman of the Year? I don't remember that, but I do know that Caitlyn Jenner, obviously an Olympian who has transitioned, and whatever, I'll respect your pronouns, I'll respect your new name, I don't really care. It's no sweat off my back. Has even coming out that saying it is a ridiculous thing, an absolute ridiculous thing, that in competitive sports we're acting as if all genders are the same. All genders are not the same. That's just a cold hard fact. And hey, if you want to do whatever, I mean, the answer is pretty simple. If it's at all questionable, especially from a hormone development physicality standpoint, you go into the one non-exclusive league. You go into the men's league. By definition, that is the one non-exclusive league. It's just the people who could perform the best. All the other things, whether we're talking about female competitions in the Olympics, Paralympics, Special Olympics, they're all defined by a particular exclusion. You have to be in one of those subcategories. And if you are not in one of those subcategories, great, go compete with the men. That's open up to everyone. Like, just do it. It's such a nonsensical issue. It's such an easy solution. And in a weird way, it's almost as if, like, some people who a couple years ago, it would have almost, the pejorative used against them would have been, oh, like, they're sexist and they only care about men, or they're particularly anti-woman. It's almost like the pendulum's gone the other way, where that's now what the group standing up for women and saying, hey, no, like, maybe they should still have sports and whatever. Jesus, what news just came out? Seth, I think you're really zoomed into the charts right now. Really zoomed into the charts. Gold is getting a technical breakout. Gold heading back to new all-time highs. Little GC action here. The beautiful entry was on Monday. The breakout of 4035, risking 3970, risking 3929, risking 390. At this point, if you took that trade, your stop is now break even, and congrats, you hit your first target. Your next target is the all-time high. What are the bells saying? It's saying that gold is getting a technical breakout. Mag 7 just got another leg lower. S&P 500 also got another leg lower. 5-minute is bearish, 10-minute is bearish, 30-minute is trying to save itself. 5-minute is bearish, 10-minute is bearish, 30-minute is also bearish. 4 hours once again awkwardly testing. The Nasdaq setup is giving a really confusing situation. It really is. We have an upside gap fill, downside gap fill. I played so much Smear the Queer, dude. It was a game. I'm not saying it had the best name in the world, but it had a ring to it. It definitely had a ring to it. It's called gynocentric misandry. What? I believe you. I just don't know what those words make. I'm not saying you're making up those words. I'm just saying I don't know what that term means at all. Thoughts on 600,000 Chinese student visas coming to the USA? No thoughts at all. I'm not familiar with the story. I know nothing about it at all. So, surprise, surprise, I don't have a developed opinion without knowing information on the story, which is, I think, a play that our society as a whole should take. Because I believe that there's way too many people with strongly held opinions who have no fucking clue what they're talking about on anything. So when it comes to 600,000 Chinese student visas, I just don't know anything about the story. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I do know that I recently saw, there was, I don't know how many of you guys were as nerdy as I was, but back in high school, there was this thing called Math Olympiads, and it was this math competition. It was a school-based math competition or a regional-based math competition, and the better and better you did, you went to higher and higher competitions. It's like a sports competition, but for nerds. And for the longest time, like you could get all the way elevated to a national level. And then if you do well at the national level, you then can compete on the global level. And there was this picture of the US Math Olympiad team finally beat the Chinese Math Olympiad team. And then every single member of the US Math Olympiad team was very clearly Chinese. It was just a group of Chinese guys, but just, I guess, half of them were from the US. So if we are bringing in 600,000 people from China, using them to then beat China in the math games, not necessarily against it. It's like Bo Burnham said in his special, what's your take on the Middle Eastern conflict? Oh, I don't know enough to comment. I mean, they have similar hats. I was on the Math Olympiad team. Did not do well. There's a lot of smart cookies in this world, folks. A lot of smart cookies. Wow, we were getting hit this morning. All right, the question is, are we going to find the base right about here? So we had this first attempt. You had the long, you wrote it up. You probably scaled out at the one high, moved your stop to break even. That was taken out at 10.12. Since then, we plopped down and we are right at, why are we bouncing here? Why did we react here? Because there's a ton of people playing the level. There's a ton of people who just have positions there. So market makers have to react, traders have to react, and that's what you get. Down, 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 and that's exactly why you call it out. And on top of the fact that it's a key level, it's a key psychological level as well at 850. So it's really not hard to pinpoint levels like this where you might see those types of reactions. It's really not that difficult. And the question is, AMD is going. AMD and SoFi are the winners of the day. Is Palantir picking up? No. Tesla? Maybe. All right, let's have a reversal alert on Tesla. Let's have a reversal alert on Palantir. And let's watch AMD and SoFi rip. Dude, AMD might be saving the market today, folks. It might be saving the market today. AMD, let's look at it. Let's look at its flow. Dude, it's just, it was flat and then someone flipped a switch at 10:05 and it just started ripping. They are buying longer dated calls like no other. No one's touching puts on AMD. This is just good old fashioned call buying. Apple, not much. Avago, not much. Coin was good, just got hit. CoreWeave got hit after a pump. Hood, flat. Microsoft, down. MicroStrategy, flat and choppy. Meta, calls are getting sold. Netflix, got a dump, going flat now. Nvidia got a pop, actually. Gave a little bit back, but not the full thing. Nvidia, be on the lookout for this to start to pick back up. Oracle getting hit. Palantir actually getting hit, oddly enough. Tesla also getting hit. So AMD is far and away the strongest performer right now. And Nvidia might have those initial signs of starting to look good if it can catch a base here and then keep going. But a little bit of put selling, a little bit of call buying, that is bullish. Just see if it can catch a base. Mag 7, quite a bit of call selling. And then on the S&P 500, exclusively down. All right, the question is this the turn point? We're about to have the initial balance created. Quiet gainers this year are LITE and STX. In crypto or in the market? Because if you're talking about the overall market, there's a lot of things that are up. It's been a bullish year ever since really May. So glad I traded my Nvidia shares for AMD shares earlier this year. Was that actually a good play? Like mathematically? AMD is up 114% year to date, and Nvidia is up 41. So yeah, that actually was a good switch. I don't know when you did it. I'm just generically looking at the year to date returns. But that, I mean, if you did it in early January, it was a worthwhile switch to the tune of almost 100%. To the tune of almost 100%. All right. Obviously, we're watching these down-sloping trend lines. We're seeing if we can catch ourselves at these green to red moves. We did get the downside gap fill. I basically got out of my calls right here at 940. And if we see some strength and some follow through, I might be getting back in to some calls, but I would love to see the delta flow turn around on both the Mag 7 and the S&P 500, because right now the delta flow is bearish. 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute bearish, 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute bearish. So if you were to trade with trend right now, you would obviously be looking for a bearish setup, because that's what's with trend. I mean, you have price momentum and you have options flow, and I'm talking on like an intraday basis. For me, the fact that the 4 hour is bullish, the fact that the daily chart is bullish, I would rather the short-term trend be in alignment with the larger trend, as in I'm kind of just waiting to see if it pushes back bullish. If it doesn't, maybe I throw in another little scalp here or there for something to the downside, just to maybe bolster these accounts a little bit. Maybe, I don't even know. I already made some good money, already did the request. I'm not feeling the most pressure in the world, but I am waiting for 5 more minutes to pass so we can see the initial. Oh wait, the initial balance is already there. Right there. There's your initial balance. Your 9:30 to 10:30, the high and the low are marked out, and then that's the 2 red lines, obviously the high, the low, and then we have the, what was that? Oh, we made the open. The open on the Qs was the high all the way up here at 81. And anyway, the blue line is the midpoint. That is the 50% retracement, which actually yesterday ended up being a phenomenal fade. Right here around 11:20, it pumped right up to it, tagged it. That was roughly VWAP, and then we just had this giant vomit back down. So watching this, remember, we have talked about it, but just for all the people who are new, I do want to give you a reminder of the math of playing these. If you look at the 10-minute, the 15, and the 30-minute Orbo, those breakouts, especially with trend, suggest a trend following reaction, as in whichever way you break, you tend to go that way, at least a certain amount. However, the math is completely inverted when you're talking about the first hour, the initial balance. That is actually completely mean reverting. And to put that another way, you could theoretically just on this first test of 61, revert that and just play the bounce back up. As in, people like to buy at the low and they also like to sell at the high. Obviously, it doesn't seem like we're going to be testing the high in any short term. But if we were to dip to 61, this is not a guaranteed trade, but the math would suggest playing at minimum a small bounce off of it is actually statistically the accurate play. So the math does get skewed. 10-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute suggests trend following, as in you keep going in the way of the break. The initial bounce, at least the first touch, which would be just literally the first of the day, would suggest a more of a reversionary type of metric. It's only 10:27 in my universal. Haven't gotten a true IB. Yeah, it's not the true IB yet. You'd have to wait for 10:30, but I'm just assuming we get stuck at 600 here and we don't in the next 2 minutes come all the way down. If we were to, the initial balance would change. But yeah, technically the initial balance has not yet been created. I'm just assuming we're not going to move that much in the next minute 45. And I'm actually looking for a potential bounce off of this. So far, dude, AMD is having a great day. AMD, 5 minutes still bearish. I think today could have a real big change. If ES gets above 6885, I think today could have a real change. If NQ gets above 660, and really, I would want to see 720 on NQ, and I would also want to see above 79 on ES. Basically, I'm looking for a recovery of the 50 EMA on the 30-minute bar for both ES and NQ to kind of like show me generically that the bulls are stepping back in. As you can see, if you had used the target of the overnight, the extended hours trading session right here, when we started to break down, you easily could have tagged 29. And in fact, there was a whole other push that you could have had. But this is just another piece of evidence of touching the extended hours sessions high and low is a very common phenomena, EOSE was a good buy a couple months ago. Pretty good growth. Well, I congratulate you for taking it, but that doesn't really help us in the now. We got to live in the present. Someone said Nvidia is popping. It's getting maybe a double bottom here. I'm seeing the SPY catch a bit of a pop. I'm seeing the Qs. I'm waiting for this trend line test. I'm waiting to see if the Mag 7 picks up. I'm waiting to see if the the SPY's actually been picking up. But it was also picking up before and it got hit. But we officially just made the initial bounce. So we could basically lock this in. Right there. That's your high. That's your low. This is your midpoint. That's your initial balance, as in the range of the first hour of regular trading hours. You have the high, you have the low, you have the midpoint, key levels. And then if you guys care about VWAP is up at 683, which is slightly above the midpoint. It's slightly above. Remember, this is Bookmap. If you want Bookmap, this is where you can see all the sitting buy orders, sitting sell orders. You could see the point of control where most contracts have been traded today. And then you could also see VWAP all the way up there. That's that white dash line. So the yellow line is the POC, the point of control. The white line is the VWAP, the volume weighted average price. The heat map is going to be your sitting sell orders above, your sitting buy orders below, and then the bubbles are orders that have actually gone through. If it's green, that means that the buyer and the seller met on the ask, aka aggressive buying, and then red is the opposite. The buyer and the seller met on the bid, aka aggressive selling. So green is aggressive buying, red is aggressive selling. The heat map is just sitting buy orders and sell orders. If they're passive orders, they might get filled, they might not get filled. The person who placed the order does have the option to change them before they're hit. The yellow is the point of control, and the white bar, which is all the way up at 683, is the VWAP level. So that's Bookmap. I use it on NQ and ES. You could use it on a lot more. The best trials, the best discounts, if you want to try it out for yourself, is in the description of the video. And actually, Chaos just posted it in chat as well. But once again, this is called Bookmap. It's a pretty cool tool. I don't necessarily, just to be honest and transparent, since we're here talking about it, I don't really use it for swing trading, as in a play that I'm going to be in for multiple calendar days, but I do use it all of the time for day trading and scalp trading. So if you're a swing trader, you might be a way to find these tools to help you out, but I think it's a tool that is more at least evidently used for day trading and scalp trading, such as you could have played this bounce off of the point of control, which might not matter for options contract that you're trading days like from now, but as a scalp trader, you're like, okay, are we above or below? Or do you want to play this bounce off of 80? Right here, we're coming up to this node, and I could see sellers are stepping in right at the point of control. So maybe you want to fade this, or maybe if you recapture it, you want to play it up to 16 because that's where these people are at. So it just gives you an idea of more for day trades and scalp trades and key levels. I'm not saying you can't use it for swing trading. I'm just saying I haven't come up with a methodology. If you could get one spot gamma or a Bookmap, they're completely different things. That like they're used. I mean, this has something to do with the DOM, the depth of market, while spot gamma is all about options. It's like saying if you only have one tool, are you going to be using a hammer or a saw? They're just used for two completely different things. And obviously I use both because I care about options flow and the options setup. And then spot gamma is telling me about the depth of market at that moment in time. So they're not comparable. They're just two completely different pieces of information. I'm leaning spot gamma. If you're more of an options trader, have at it. I mean, they're two completely different things. I would say, even though they're two completely different tools, spot gamma is seemingly a much more robust tool, as it has a lot more things going on. But if you're only day trading and scalp trading, well, you're going to care about the tool that Bookmap has then. Maybe let me put it this way. They do give you two different pieces of information. Spot gamma can be used for swing trading and for day trading, while Bookmap in its own right, with a different set of information, a different set of data, seemingly is only used for day trading and scalp trading. But I think you use them together. I don't think you pick one or the other. Obviously, you've never been mad at your saw. Enough anger and anything can be a hammer. Well, that's a valid point. Touche. You've proven me wrong. All right. So we are officially in the chop support zone. We're below 50. We have that closing value at 46. We have a gamma node. Let me double check that. Where was I? Trace at 45. Well, it got moved down a little bit. It was at 45. You can see it was there, but now it's moved down to 40 and 35. So we could just call it 37, kind of chopping this zone in half. Let me zoom in a little bit. But right here, 40, 35. That's a bit of support that I'll be looking to see if it holds. And then the spot gamma implied one-day move low is closer to 25, which I hope we do not have to deal with personally. Well, I guess if we took a little bit of that scalp to the downside, it would have paid. It would have paid, it would have paid, it would have paid. It would have paid, it would have paid, it would have paid. Five-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute bearish. 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute bearish. I'm not the most eager beaver to be thrown on trades right now because it is anti the 4-hour. It is anti the daily. So I'd prefer that the shorter term trend go back in phase with the longer term trend. But if you're day trading, scalp trading, your life is probably going to be easier if you trade with trend. And actually, wait, are we going to see an example? All right, we just hit the initial balance. Just hit it. All right, I'm watching it. Because I'm going to see if I could play a little bit of a reversion out of it just to prove a point. Just to prove a point. I'm zooming in. I don't want to catch a falling knife.
Order submitted.
Order has not been filled, as you can tell. I have no live orders, but it's very close to getting filled.
Order filled.
Oh, just like that. Boom. It happened way too quick, but you saw it right there. These were all at 500, 700, 700, 700, 700. We played a little bit of a reversion there. Nice way to pump these up to 700. Basically, I just waited for the first green bar, and I took this long at 40. Why is it not showing? Oh, I took it. It got me a fill at 41, and honestly, I could have probably rode this all the way back up to 61. Fuck, I was about to do it to play it to 61, but it already happened. Like I said, the math is math in there. Just wait for the puke to stop. Even if you bought it right there, you probably would have already made your money there. Granted, that was probably a little bit of a bigger blow off than you really particularly wanted. But the second I saw that first green bar right here, maybe it was 1037, that you saw it. I mean, granted, it did happen quickly. And specifically, here was the trade, boom to boom. I could have rode it even more. But instead of riding it for a longer distance, I just played it with more contracts and made 200 each. That's how all of these accounts went from 500 to 700, 700, 700, 700. 670, 670, 670, 670, 670. So a little bit of slippage right there, unfortunately. But basically 210 accounts just made a quick 2K. And that's right there. Like, just knowing those little things, especially in the current world of sim defunded, those are those big advantages. Just a real quick 2K. I made an extra 200 across 10 accounts just by knowing those little odds and those little statistics and just being patient and waiting for the trade to set up. Obviously, in most people's lives, in 99.9% of people's lives, 2K is a big deal. It is a big deal. So if you're just patient and you wait for that one trade a day, 2K, a lot of people aren't making that in a week. Like, most of this world is not making that in a week. So you're just patient, you wait for the one play, and then you just move on with your life. Pretty easy. I don't understand, you long or short. I was long right here. You could see it from these markers. I went long. I told you, you revert the change. So I waited for the puke to stop. I saw green, went long, played it. And honestly, I got out at 43. I could have been up a whole nother 40 points to right here. Like, I got out very, very early. So what I could have done was lock some in, move the stop to break even, and let one contract keep going. But I explained the entire trade prior to it happening. The entire trade. I said, hey, you fade it. We puked into it. Fading it means you go long. And that's exactly what I did. So not only did I explain all of the trade to you way before it happened, I actually was explaining it before the initial balance was created. But then once again, in real time, I put my money where my mouth was and I made 2K off of it. It's honestly, when you commit some of those basic, I guess, pieces of information to memory of like, okay, play the 10-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute Orbo breakout if with trend, fade the initial balance, pay attention to the bots that run at 350 every single day. Like those types of little Bayesian probabilities are how, as a day trader and a scalp trader, you on autopilot on a low emotional investment can easily be profitable. Like it's just knowing those little things rather than just kind of getting frazzled and being like, oh, is it up or is it down? Should I chase it this way? Should I chase it that way? No, this trade just came from the fact that I know the basic odds. I learned the basic odds. I waited for it to play out. I got in. I could have wrote it way more. Literally, I was in at 541. It ran up to, there was 60 points. And if anything, you could argue, Matt, what the fuck are you doing? Dude, you left so much meat on the bone there. And that's a very, very fair criticism. I could have made exponentially more. Oh, brother. Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. And now I'm actually wondering if this is going to pop back around. Kind of watching this structure. Let's see. We're maybe retesting we were green to red. Now we're going red to green, seemingly testing on the SPY, and the Qs are a little bit farther away. AMD is still looking great. NVIDIA, maybe a triple bottom. If you're playing NVIDIA intraday, you might want to watch that trend line. Palantir is getting hit. SoFi now taking a bit of a hit. Tesla's still taking a hit. I'm waiting for some sort of fresh high. NVIDIA is the one that's closest to breaking out for sure. Where are we? Was there an announcement that caused that? All right, the point of control, we just ripped through it at 600. The 600, 25,600 has been the main battle on NQ for the past 2 weeks. It just seems like this is always where we are reverting to. Just so you know, there are buyers stepping in at 90, it seems. From this heat map right here, 90. The point of control is 600, and it seems as if there's some sellers up here at 610. And look at that. We are dipping right back into the EMAs. Right back into the EMAs. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, mother. Oh, brother. Oh, mother. Oh, brother. Oh, mother, oh, brother. I wonder how James Wynn is doing. What's Bitcoin at? Bitcoin, he's actually probably looking pretty good right now at 102. He was probably really sweating it this morning, if I had to guess. Hang on.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
I have a pending order in right now. Everything you just heard, it is not
Order submitted.
I'm playing this one on all of the accounts. Oh, come on. I'm playing a little EMA
Order
bounce.
filled.
Boom. All right. These accounts got up to 400 each. Just a little bit of a something, something. And these ones, I'm trying to press 1,000. 911, 911, 911, 911, 870, 870, 870, 870. So, continually padding it. today, to me, since everything isn't nicely in trend or anything like that, as you can see, I'm just going for a handful of scalps here and there. And if you do them well with reasonable risk reward, understanding basic odds of recovery and EMA bounces and that stuff, that's how you can make 5K there, call it another 5K there. So that's 10K plus whatever the fuck that math is. I don't know. It's like $15,000 I'm up right now. I think his target is like 67. I think he said 67 to 90 something. Never forget. Sorry, I just realized I said 9/11, 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. But for these ones, since I've had such a rough go of it, I'm trying a new strategy to build out the buffer. I'm trying a scalping strategy rather than a trend strategy when the trend is completely mismatched. But I think this is proof. This is the first day that I've shown you that I'm doing a bit more of scalps rather than trend following. And the reason for that is because I'm waiting for this payout to either get approved or denied. I'm trying to get a little bit of money in it just to keep growing the buffer, obviously. But these other ones, I need to keep trading for sure, just because they have such minimal buffer right now. But I don't necessarily want to overdo it either. So actually on these accounts that are up 9/11, I'm probably only going to do one more trade a day just because I don't want to make the consistency rule more difficult on myself than it has to be. So as soon as it hits 1,000, which should be about one more trade, I'll probably call it a day. And then these guys, I forget what they were at before. Were they at 350? I forget exactly what they were at. But yeah, if I can get in one more trade, I'll be happy because we'll be at some good targets and whatnot. We'll be at some good targets. I wonder. See how it plays out. We'll see how it plays out. Well, their buyers were at 90. Point of control is still 600. Where did I say those?
Order submitted.
The buyers were at 90, I think, right? Did I say 90? Is that where they were? No, 6. Oh, there were buyers, but they got kind of blown out there. Oh, do I just want to end it? Do I want to go for this additional trade? Well, I should only trade it if the setup is there. We'll see. What is flow looking like? We might have been rejected at the red to green test. S&P 500 is down. Mag 7 is down. Where's NVIDIA? NVIDIA broke retesting. Maybe if it could push 192.50, that becomes interesting. Well, we just popped up. All right.
Order submitted.
Let's see if this one's going to pay. Pending order is in, but it's only going to go if we hit that level.
Order submitted.
As it just did.
Order filled.
And we already got the fill. Bada bing, bada boom. 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, 1070, 70, 70, 70, 70. So clearly officially crossing the line of 10K. So 10 accounts, 1,000 each, crossing that line. And then on these other 15, hitting my goal of 500 per account on 15 accounts. That's another 7.5. So you guys saw it, 17.5K made. Easy peasy lemon squeezies, 17.5K, all done live in front of you. And Granted, today's system and methodology was a bit different, but the reason it's different, and I think this is the important part, beyond the trades, beyond the fact that I'm attempting to be transparent, I showed you the orders. You saw pending orders before it even like executed. You saw the reasoning, but I'm going to call it a day there just because I don't see much of a point in me making more than $1,000 on these smaller accounts. And then on these bigger accounts, why push it when I'm still pending a payout? That's $500. Cool. It grows my buffer a little bit. Didn't really have to take on the most risk to do it. And the reason why I'm not really trend following right now is because we're getting mixed signals. Right now, when I look at the daily, that is bullish. When I look at this setup that at least earlier today, we had bullish, or we had positive gamma, negative above. That's a bullish setup. The flow into the market close yesterday was bullish. The big players were buying yesterday. So there's larger data sets telling me to be bullish, but then intraday, bearish, bearish, bearish. So it's because of that mismatch. Look at the options flow today. That's bearish. That's bearish. Because of that mismatch, if your shorter time frame is telling you one way, your larger time frame is telling you the other way, well, maybe that's not the day to really go for big swings because things are just not aligning. Of course, maybe later on today it starts to align. That's totally possible. But I'm just not seeing that right now. Why so many accounts? Because if you do well on one account, that's awesome. And if you do well on one account and then multiply it by X amount, you get that much more money. So I could have traded the exact way I trade. Well, look at that. You could have done another initial balance pop. Anyway, if I traded, I could have made 1K, but because I copy trade, I could apply that trade to 9 more accounts. So instead of making $1,000, I made $10,000. On these accounts, instead of making 500, I made 7.5. So it's the same trades. It's just copy trading them to more accounts. And you could buy even more accounts than this. I mean, technically 20, 25. I have 26 accounts right now. You could get up to 50 accounts, 75 accounts, 100 accounts. So it's just more of, if you think you have a good system and you're net profitable, why would you not want to apply more capital to it, especially when the downside risk is capped at how much you're putting on your credit card bill? That's why. If you're doing well, if you have a trade that makes you 10%, obviously you would want it to be on more underlying capital because you're going to get more of a return. 10K in one account versus 1K in 10 accounts because of risk management. Because 10K risk on a 50K account is 20%, while 1K on a 50K is only 2%. That's just ratios, brother. That's run-of-the-mill math, I suppose. Or maybe to put that another way, it's risk-reward management. All right, let's update these charts a little bit. Unfortunately, we're not getting the cleanest break on NVIDIA. It liked to get going. And I got in, got out, actually got lucky as fuck. Look at that top tick. You know, as much as I bitch and complain and bemoan the fact that I'm always the guy who just gets wicked out, we can call that a pretty solid victory. I got out at 6925. The high was 69.5. Your brother literally one tick away and then it dumped. So I'm going to remember this event because I'm the first one who complains all of the time of this type of stuff. Of man, it just wicked me out, or, oh, I just missed my profit. You know, I think we all have a finite amount of luck. So if you're getting hit with a lot of bad luck, maybe you're just overlooking the times that you got really, really lucky. And right there, you can say that was really, really lucky. Really, really lucky. Oh, how are we doing? How's the Russell doing? Oh, Jesus, we were looking good. And then everything's kind of coming undone right now. The Russell's slightly red. The SPY's slightly red. The Qs are red. Bitcoin's down. Bitcoin's getting hit. Clearly. Yeah, look at that structure. We popped back up into the cloud and it's coming undone. The question is it going to crack 101? Is it going to crack 100? Or are buyers going to step in here? Funny enough, the fade match strat would have still worked. You're not wrong. It's still, the fading me is still seemingly like lights out profitable. Lights out profitable. I'm basically just waiting to see if this turns around. If it turns around, I'll throw on more bullish positions. But if it doesn't, I'm just waiting. If it doesn't, I'm just waiting. Mag 7 getting clapped. SPY getting clapped. We have a little bit of negative gamma, but there's quite a bit of support at 35, at 15, and at 800. So we are coming up. Yeah, like I said, there is a bit of negative gamma right here, but there's support in this region. So I'm basically waiting to see if we bounce out of it, similar to the way we did yesterday. If I bring up the 10-minute on SPX yesterday, we were dipping and kind of fucking around until 11:30, and then we got going. It's only 10:50 right now, and we have this 50 EMA. We dipped to, I guess, 37 this morning. I'm still hopeful for the bounce out of here. I truly am. Truly am. And I hope it's a large, violent bounce. For those of you guys who missed it, I did request another 2,000 per account. So I requested 2K from 15 accounts. As you can see, they are all currently pending. Pending. Is my hair not perfect? You guys didn't even let me know. Anyway, pending. So I requested initially after 8 trading days, they all got denied. That's this batch right here. Then after another 8 trading days, when I could request again, which was yesterday, November the 11th, I did request again, and they're all just sitting there, and I have to wait. Sometimes it's incredibly fast, like day of. Other times you just have to wait. I mean, this last time they didn't tell me I was denied for a full calendar week. I think it was 4 trading days, but it was a full calendar week. So this time around, it just depends on how many people are in the queue. So that's also part of the reason why I was taking it easy on these, because it's these accounts that are currently pending. So I don't want to blow them out in the meantime, even though I do like this push to 65. All right, I'm not going to do it, but let's see if this is going to work. Go long. I bet this trade works. I bet it works. So here's the, once again, I'm not calling it. So we'll call 6225 and then getting out at 74. That's the trade. You'd already be long. I'm not taking it, but let's see. Sometimes it's good to just go through the steps. I like this long entry and I like this exit. Boom. Just hit it. Let's wait for it to go past it. But right there, you're fucking welcome. You're welcome. That was 10 points. That's $200 a contract. If you did that on 2 contracts, 400, you could scale it up right there. Why? It recovered the initial balance. It pushed the 50 EMA, and we're also looking at recent highs. Bada bing, bada boom. That's what, the second perfect call, 5th perfect call that I've had for you folks today. Hope your accounts get approved, Mateo. How long until you know? Thank you. I appreciate that. I very much also hope, because it is $30,000 that I'll be paid. And if you guys saw my credit card bill right now, you'd say, holy shit, Matt, we thought you were a financial content creator. How are you so bad with your credit card? I know, it's crazy. But I don't know how long. It's up to them. I have seen it as quick as literally as I was requesting from some of the later accounts, the earlier ones were already getting approved. So I've seen it as quickly as 20 minutes, and I've seen it take as long as 2 weeks. So it's all dependent on how many people are here. I'll show you. So there's just basically a giant queue of people who are waiting to have their account reviewed for either payout or denial or asking for additional information. But you could see it in payouts right here on the bottom of their page. So for example, these are all the people. So they are approving people, or they were approving people as recently as yesterday. So Ranjit got approved for a couple $1,000s over there. Trade Titans in India got approved for about 5K, 6K. Who's popping off right now? Fu from Singapore got a couple $1,000s. Yo, Julio from Texas. This motherfucker's getting some cashola. Julio, 500, 500, 500, 500. Alo Hussein from Illinois also making a good push Those are all 2K payouts as one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 20K. Al Hussein just got $20,000. Hell Frozen from Romania, clocking in 10K there. Lindsay from Arizona. Lindsay, if you're watching, congrats to you. I mean, you could just see all the recent, they're in reverse chronological order. Obrutz, whoever, what kind of fucking name that is, crushing it in California. It's always interesting right here. Giuseppe from New York making a good run. Giuseppe, my brother from another mother here in New York. Giuseppe, this guy, I could already picture it. He's Italian as fuck. Giuseppe is probably at a pizzeria right now. He's probably day trading from a pizzeria. Giuseppe, and he's like, hey, give me my $1,000. Giuseppe crushing it. Weird amounts, but he's taking them. Who else is in it? I like to see the big patches of people. The big patches. Daniel from Washington making a decent run. David from the United Kingdom. That's a good 7-ish K. David making a run. Axel from Luxembourg taking them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16K. Maybe 14K. Axel making a run. Oh, look at Ark. Ark made a good run in Texas. A little Ark of the Covenant action. Anyway, you can see it on yourself if you want. So my point is that they're a queue. So these November 11th, you can see the day that they're all approved. They were doing all of those yesterday, and that's already 3 tabs deep. So we're up to tab 1, which was still November 11th. So there's a deep tab. And actually, yeah, Ranjit was the most recent one. So just sometimes takes a little bit to approve it based on how deep the queue is. But I'm currently in the queue, hence why it says pending. Most likely at some point it'll go from pending to under review, as in they're going to look at my specific trades to make sure I didn't break any of the rules. And then from under review, it'll either go to denied or it'll go to approved. And then from approved, it goes to paid. That's pretty much how it plays out. But anyway, if you want to take advantage of it, 70% off, and the upgrade from eval to performance is dirt cheap right now. Use that code Goonie. This is your last trading session to take advantage of it. You have 15 hours left. And then from there, I have no clue what the next deal is going to be, to be completely honest. No idea. If they deny you, do they start your 8 trading days from the next day you trade or after the denial? No. Your 8 trading days starts from the day after you request. So regardless of if I'm approved or denied, today is day 1 of the next period. That's why when I found out I was denied, why I was able to trade or request again so rapidly after it, is because I applied for I requested the payout. There were 4 trading days. I traded all of those. And then on day 5, I find out I was denied. But I already traded 4 new days from the most recent request. So it goes from the day that you request it, not from the date of their decision, if that makes sense. So regardless of if I'm approved or denied on this payout, I've already traded 1 day because I traded today and I requested yesterday. Is the 30% max profit rule per trade or per day? And is it from the hour that it closes? And is it from the hour that it closes? I don't understand the second question, but it's per calendar day. So if you make 10 grand in a pay period, in an 8-day period, or whatever your pay period is, technically it could be longer, but that's the minimum. No single day can be more than 30%. So in this example, no single day can be more than 3K, which is 30% of the 10K. So whatever your total payout or whatever your total profit is in an entire period, multiply that by 0.3 and ensure that no one singular calendar day is above 30%. Denial is insane. It's not insane at all. It's to stop people YOLOing it. Because they allow you to trade many accounts, think about how easy that would be to game. Let's say you buy 2 accounts and you're allowed to trade up to 10 contracts on a 50K account. You could wait for a big announcement such as a CPI or an FOMC decision, and you could YOLO long on one account and you could YOLO short on the other. Obviously, they're going to deny that because you're not trading, you're gaming the system. So I don't think it's crazy. I think if they allowed it, the company would no longer be a business. So it's just like, do you want it to be a business or not? I get denied for a violation of the 30% drawdown, and that's why it's smart to have multiple accounts. Apex denied, by the way. Yeah, same thing here. But once again, when you're denied, they don't take your profits and they don't delete your accounts. They just tell you to trade for another period, which I actually kind of think is an advantage because that gives you an opportunity to build up more buffer. And as you build up more buffer and you're trading the same contract size, that actually means percentage-wise, you have more and more of leeway to go. Yeah, they allow more than anyone with everything. Wait, yes, they allow more than anyone with every. Oh, okay, you're saying relative to other prop firms. Waiting 2 weeks for a payout is crazy. So to my understanding, the larger your payout, the longer it takes because they're going to be more specific, obviously, as a business to ensure that it was all right. If you're requesting for a couple $100, it'll probably get like borderline auto approved. But to my understanding, the larger you're requesting, the more they're going to look into it. And actually, some of those people who request like $1 million or like the really, really big payouts, but people getting into the world of 7 figures, I've actually heard of some taking up to 1 to 2 months because they review every single trade. And to be able to get to that much profit, you've probably traded a lot. So just inherently, there's a lot of trades to review. But yeah, that's obviously a specialty case, but it can get lengthy. But also, when you get that much, they actually freeze your account and they stop you from trading anyway. So it doesn't matter. Like, it's not like you're going to risk blowing out because your accounts are frozen. But once again, that's a specialty case after 6 payout periods and you're requesting a giant sum of money. A giant sum of money. So if you blow out your 50K account, what do you owe? Nothing. Your risk is exclusively what you put on your credit card when you bought the eval and paid the upgrade fee. If you blow out a 50K account, it's nothing. It's nothing to you. What do you mean by building up a buffer? There's a liquidation for 5% for all accounts. I have no idea where you got that number of 5%, but no. Right now, so for example, these right here on the screen, the top 15 from right here, 69589 all the way down to 69966. These accounts blow out if they get to 50,100. As in, I have $20,000 worth of buffer. While on these accounts, since they're brand new, I only have 2.5K worth of buffer. So that's what I'm saying is I'm building up more buffer, as in I could trade more poorly and still be perfectly fine because these ones can draw down $20,000 before I blow them out. These ones can draw down 2.5K before I blow them out. So pretty much like these are 10x more difficult to deal with because the buffer is 1/10 of the size before they blow out. While these ones, I have 20K of wiggle room, $20,000 where like I could literally lose $5,000 or $10,000 per account. And let's just say I lose $10,000 per account. I have 15 accounts. I could lose $150,000 and these would still be fine. They would still be alive and I could still trade them. I could lose 2.5K on these 5 accounts, which is like, technically that changes because of the buffer, but let's just say for the sake of math that I could lose 15K and these would blow out. So I could lose 150K here. These accounts are fine. I could lose 15K here and I would lose all these accounts. And it just has to do with like the drawdown. As soon as you go up 2.5K, they anchor your blowout number to 50,100. So as soon as you exceed 2.5K in profit, your blowout number just gets frozen at basically 50,000. Technically, it's 50,100, but you're just frozen there. So as you build up more and more buffer, the trailing stop no longer follows you. It stays frozen there. So as I keep trading these, and ideally they go higher and higher and higher, I just get more and more buffer to play with. So it's one of these things where all the difficulty in trading these accounts is front loaded because you have, by definition, the least amount of buffer. And as you trade and trade and trade, obviously, if you're trading well, the buffer grows and grows and grows, and then you have more leeway. Do they mail you a check? For me, they just do. I have my bank account set up, so they do a direct deposit. WTF, they give you 50K and you don't own shit, LOL. I have a feeling you don't understand what sim to funded is. I would highly recommend you watch the videos. I go into explanation of how this entire industry works. So to not bore all the other viewers who are already like very well like knowledgeable and informed about this particular industry, just Jay, you're missing a lot of important aspects of this. So I would just say go watch those videos. You can't just withdraw it all. No, you can't. You have to pass all their other rules, specifically pay periods. You have to trade for 6 full trade periods. So each pay period is 8 trading days. You have to trade for 6 of those and do a request on every single one and get approved on every single one. So if you're not approved on all 6, well, you have to trade for another period. But as soon as you're approved on 6 pay periods, you then can request whatever you want to request. So you are capped, and the capped amount is different per account size. So on a 50K account, per request, it's 2K. And that's different on a 25K account versus a 100K account versus a 150K account. The cap of what you could request, it is different. But once again, the cap only exists for the first 6 payouts. And then after the 6 payouts, per account, there's then no longer a cap, and you can take whatever you want. And we are just going straight down, which makes me very, very happy. I got out of my position up here. So what happens if you withdraw money? Does that blow out the limit, stay at 5,100? Do I understand it? They don't allow you to request that money if it would blow you out. They actually, in terms of requesting money, you can only request down to 52. So to do basically, if you want to request down to 52, you can only take out the money on top of 52 per in-between request. So you can request 3 payouts per month. You can request every 8 trading days. No trading month has 24 trading days. So you could do like 2.5 pay periods per calendar month. But you have to actively do a trade on different trading sessions, at least 8 of them, to be able to do a request. And that's the minimum. It's not necessarily the maximum. You could trade for 50 days if you want and then do a request if you wanted. Could you withdraw all of your gains by trading only $50 a day? If you follow all the other rules, yes. After you've already built up the buffer. Okay, I understand. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, there's all these questions, I'm telling you, I'm doing my best to answer them now. But I have videos explaining all of these, and it'll make your life way easier. Just so you know, it's also, is this the right one? What's my channel? I don't even know my channel. Go visit your channel. This channel, it's also on Rumble, but if you just go to @MattKohrs right here, just @MattKohrs, I have videos that explain all of this, like why I got denied, Apex's worst rule, top 10 Apex questions, right here, how to beat Apex, a 3-video guide, a 3-step video guide, Apex rules explained, prop trading explained, all the questions that you guys have. The videos are there. Just go to this channel here. I'll put it in link. And just so you know, it's also on Rumble. I mirror all of my content over onto Rumble, but I just dropped the link in chat. It's also in the description of the video. But all of these things, all these questions, the best Apex account size, how to pass the Apex eval. So this was my journey of making $40,000, $80,000, $120,000, $160,000, $200,000, $240,000. Apex has paid me out $240,000. And as you can see, I was looking pretty rough at that point. Setup, but remember, look how I was for about 50. Financially, I was doing well. Emotionally, mentally, not doing well. You can see I was making a bunch of money at the severe cost of my mental health. And then that eventually, after making $250,000, that led to me, I'm starting blowing out. I blew out. Seemingly, I shaved my beard and I restarted. Yeah, this is, you can tell the moment what's going on. Of course it was. Didn't blow out, but here I want to show you what this was. The swings, dude. I made a $750,000, went on tilt, lost it, made all the money back, and then I think a couple days after this, lost it again. Dude, this is brutal. This is fucking brutal. So made all that money back, and then blew it out, shaved, and I'm starting over. 50 points on you. So if you want to know how I blew out, you can watch this video. If I'm being completely honest, I erased it from my mind.
Going on.
But that's what happened there. So basically, I was on a hot run. Here, can I move myself over? Yeah. I made, in about a 3-month period, I made 40K, locked it in, 80K, locked it in, 120K. When I say locked it in, they sent me the money. Like, it's in my bank account. 160, 200, 240. And then there's a weird period here, and then I got blown the fuck out. And then ever since then, I've been chasing rebuilding the account, which brings us all the way to now. So you could see that happened in March. That happened 7 months ago. 7 months ago. And in the meantime, I tell you how to pass Apex accounts, take profit accounts, how to beat prop trading. Apparently, we talked a little bit about World War III. Someone's apparently lying to you. How to do systematic Apex trading, take profit trading. Apex's questions, the rules, and why they recently denied me $30,000. I explained Vanquish rules as well. So if you have questions on rules, just go watch these videos. It's all answered there. Or if you want to see how I lost a shitload of money. Bitcoin's breaking. Bitcoin touched 101. Dude, James Wynn is probably popping off right now. Tax bill hurt? I don't know, because that was this year. I haven't played the tax bill yet. This guy has a 40x leverage against Bitcoin. Oh, he's bragging right now. He's adding to BTC shorts here. Strong rejection at 105 after the SE pump due to $33 billion injection. Bubble is getting bigger. He has a giant leverage bet against Bitcoin. I miss the good old day. If you like Bitcoin at 126, you'll love it at 67. So I guess he is betting on a drop all the way to 67. Short everything, SPX bubble, NDQ bubble, real estate bubble, win. I don't believe that. So on November 9th, you're all wrong, and I mean it, win. I think his liquidation level is 106. We bottomed 20 hours ago. Too soon, Junior. Anyway, this guy has a 40x leverage bet against Bitcoin. And apparently he just added to it as of this morning. Where was that tweet? 5 hours ago. Adding to BTC shorts here. Jesus. Well, he's probably feeling pretty fucking good right now. Like I said, it's a 40x leverage bet. 5 hours ago. Interesting. He did this at 6. He bet in here. That's looking pretty strong. He kind of got lucky. It broke at 9 because it broke down 2 hours ago, and he added to the bet over here at 6 a.m. That's crazy. He added here. He got lucky. Like, he was fighting this trend. Holy cow. 5 hours ago. Does it give us the exact timestamp? At 5:41 in the morning, he bet against it. 5:40. He said this right here, right where my cursor is now. He said this was a strong rejection of 105. Are you kidding me? It literally kept going. It didn't. He said this was a strong rejection. This is where he made his tweet. He got lucky as fuck, dude. He said, rejection. It just kept going. It didn't actually break down until 9:40 hours later. Matt, do you feel like you are taking riskier bets to fill your depression void of Penn State football? Honestly, probably. Probably. Who knows, man? Who knows? This was a nice trade. If you took this breakout here, 39 back to 48. Point trade, calling it out, real time, boom, already hit. Dude, sometimes scalps work like no other. He will get it right eventually. Not if he blows out in the meantime. He took a 40x leverage bet, as in if it goes 2.5% against him, he loses his account. When you're using 40x leverage on your entire account, if it goes 2.5% against you, you get liquidated. PSU let me down last weekend. Honestly, at least that was their best showing that they've had this year. At least it was their best showing. Are we missing anything else? Satoshi era whale just sold all of his Bitcoin after 15 years of holding. He sold 1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Jesus. What is this? Yesterday, I used almost all of my savings to buy one Palantir stock. Now I see a white man CEO not working. What is he doing? He pretend he's a Chinese kung fu master, use sword like 5-year-old China boy.
X gon' give it to you. Wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you.
What should I do?
Well, we're getting
Should I not do
DMCA.
anything?
Get busy with it. I got such a good heart.
That would have been it. That would have been done.
That's great.
Is that who you're trusting with your money? That's actually a hilarious edit.
X gon' give it
I
to
love
you.
the drop.
Wait for you to get it on your own. X
Dude, I
gon'
love this video.
What should I do? Should I not do anything?
Get busy with it. I got such a good heart.
That would have been it. That would have been done.
That's great.
He looks acoustic. He is very acoustic. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Very, very acoustic. Blew everything this morning buying the dip. Congrats to me. Taking a break. Bye. It looks like he was trading eval accounts on take profit. Should he have been trying to buy the dip? No. What? Pop quiz, community. Pop quiz, pop quiz, pop quiz. Why were we not trying to buy the dip this morning? For a trend following trade. Why? Well, the answer is because the SPY delta was puking. The Mag 7 delta was puking. 5-minute bearish, 10-minute bearish, 30-minute broke down. 5-minute bearish, 10-minute bearish, 30-minute broke down. So the only event in which it was worthwhile to buy the dip is if you bottom ticked it and picked the inversion of trend. So unless you really think you're that good of a trader to spot when trend is about to change, you're better off just trading with trend. It more times than not, we're trending rather than switching trend. That's just how trading works. You're more often trending than not trending, especially on the intraday. I'm not saying like, oh, we go from bearish to bullish, bearish to bullish. Generally, nope, clearly bearish. So that's why you don't. But hats off to him because he was transparent. Like I said, I really don't care if people are profitable or not. Like, just be transparent. Trading is hard, and social media will drive you crazy where it seems like everyone else is comically easily making money except for you, when in reality, everyone else is very difficultly making money, and it is not an easy thing, and people just love to lie about it. They love to just only show the good side, and I'm so sick and tired of it. It is complete bullshit, and this industry just has a lot of fucking dweebs like TJR or Rocket Scooter or the fuck that douchebag's name is, or like you just have all these people cosplaying as traders and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and it's dangerous. They're gonna blow people out. They're gonna hurt people. They're teaching things that they have no clue what they're talking about. They're exclusively good at marketing and they're not good at trading. It's a game of just, it's risk reward management. I know I preach this every single day, but it's because it's that important. It's just, what is your risk? What's your reward? Keep your risk in control, keep your leverage in control, and good luck with your short-term 50-50 opportunity. Good luck. Cause it keep dipping. Angelo, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Thanks, Matt. Is the 100K static account on Apex good for a beginner? Well, luckily for you, I have a video that says the best Apex accounts. And in that video, I break down the quality of each account, or like who it might be appropriate for. So watch that video. But just so you know, most people do not use static and most people just use the normal 50K eval. Hey, Matt. I have a 50K margin account. My goal is to make $500 a day. I've been day trading, short-term swinging, scalp trading, but overall my account stays right around 50K. Looking to improve contracts, looking to improve cons. My biggest recommendation to you would be to either use a sim account or a paper account or not real money and figure out your system. And once you're confident in your system, then put real money behind it. But the market's here today. It's going to be here tomorrow. Folks, no one listening should ever feel pressured into putting like your actual hard-earned money on the line. Like, you don't need to. Like, the market will be here when you are ready. You should put all of your upfront effort into learning in an environment where you're not at risk, as in a paper trading account, as in a sim trading account. Even though it's not the real thing, it's going to help you to learn the mechanics. It's going to help to grow you to have comfort in the accounts themselves. And as a person, I get paid whenever you guys use these accounts, whenever you whatever, sign up for this brokerage or Apex or anything like that. Even as a person where my own financial interests are tied to the fact of you guys signing up and doing this stuff, I'm going to be the first person to tell you, do not do that if you are not ready. Use a completely fake paper trading account, take all risk out of the equation, and figure out your system. Literally, I'm going against my own financial interests in telling you this. Take your time. The market will be here. There's so many great books to read. There's so many great podcasts to listen to. There's so much time you can spend on a riskless paper trading account. And when you finally get to that moment where you're like, yes, I feel comfortable. Okay, take it slow and steady from there. You don't need to rush into the market. It's going to be here for you. It is. And if it's not, if the market disappears overnight, well, we have far larger issues going on then than you caring about trading and money and all that stuff. If the markets disappear, something cataclysmic has happened and there's other shit going on. So you're not going to worry about it. Speaking of that, we might be getting our first test of the day. What platform are you trading on? I trade options on Public, and I trade futures on NinjaTrader. What's a paper trading account? It means it's not real trades. It's quote unquote fake trades. It is just, it follows the real market, but your orders aren't actually going to the market and you're not actually risking any money. It's paper. Like, that's what you call paper trading. It's simulated. There's no risk to you. Paper trading accounts are like practice accounts, no real dough involved. Yep, 100% accurate. 100% accurate. I'm watching this for the trend line breakout. We're seeing some signs of potential bottoming. We're almost at the spot gamma implied 1-day move low. We're bouncing off this 50 EMA. Fuck it. When in Rome. Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, mother, oh, brother. Oh, brother, oh, mother. All right, we're slapping in some trades. We're doing some degen stuff. We're doing some degen stuff. What is today? We are definitely doing some degen shit. We're doing some hood rat shit. What the fuck? Well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Why would I ever do that? Why in the world would I ever do that? Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Oh, brother. All right. I'm slapping in a couple longs here. What? Well, we're going to see how this happens. Whatever. When in Rome. And I think this is going to be the bottom of the day to clarify. We're seeing some bottoming signs here in the Mag 7. We're seeing some bottoming signs here in the S&P 500. We are seeing that the SPX came to the 50 EMA. We're seeing the 4-hour just kind of come into its cloud, bounce out of that. The Nasdaq could look a little bit stronger, but really I'm liking this bounce off of 40, 45. I'm looking for the recapture of 50, and then I'm looking for a test of the intraday high, and past that, obviously, I'm looking at 80 all the way up there. I think a big win would be if NQ takes out 25,660. I think a big win for SPX would be if it takes out 6862, but obviously I'm taking the entry now because it minimizes my risk. I'm just risking the intraday low. But I'm seeing a bit of a pop in AMD, a bit of a pop in the Russell. I'm seeing a bit of a pop in Tesla, a bit of a pop in Palantir, a bit of a, really it's NVIDIA leading us higher right now. Catching, see how it just found support at 192. So basically I'm trying to play it off of support. If it bounces, great. And then if it turns and I'm wrong, well, I only took a small little paper cut and life goes on, boohoo type of a situation. So I like it. I like what's going on. I'm taking a stab at it because the risk reward is optimal. When I say the risk reward is optimal, I'm talking about the fact that, why is this not working? This is the risk reward, is I get to ride it. What's the risk reward? It's 2. It's 2x. Sweet. Awesome. I'll take that. So on a 50-50 situation, I like it because my expected value is positive because I'm going for 2x the reward than I am for the risk. So I'm going to take those trades all the time. And I like it because this reversal is with the trend of the overall market, which when I come to the overall trend, I'm looking at the daily, strong. I'm looking at the 4-hour, strong. So I was waiting for the short term to have a pullback and then go in phase with the longer term trend. And as of now, the longer term trend is to the upside. Is that an end all be all guarantee? No, I think it gives me about a 10 to 15% edge, and it just comes back down to risk management. So I'll pay close attention to the intraday low. I would love for us to go green, and we'll see how it plays out. But that's what I have for you guys today. Remember, this is the final trading session to take advantage of the current Apex deal, and most likely at some point tonight, they'll announce whatever the other deal is, or they might wait a couple days. I'll keep you guys apprised of the situation of my Apex payout. Whenever I find out, I will let you know. But remember, if you're checking out on Apex or Take Profit Trader or Funded Futures Network or Tradeify or any of those, use that code Goonie. You're going to get whatever the current best deal is. We'll be posting an update video later on today. It'll come out around 7 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll be streaming once again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. bright and early. In the meantime, if you want to hang out in the Goonie Trading Discord, the link's in the description of the video. Your first month is free. And other than that, I hope you crush today. I hope you pay attention to risk. I hope you stick to your system. I hope you don't over leverage. And I hope you have some good vibes. I appreciate all the good vibes. Thank you for all the support. I'll catch you later. Peace.